I am hopefully the audio is clear, and hopefully my comments also come through for me. Let me try to see if I can go to my page. If you are here in the star room, welcome to the star room. Let me know who you are so I can at least say hello to you. And let me find out how I can see the comments. Bud, what's up, Bud? I'm happy to welcome you to the star room. How are you doing this evening, Bud? Are you having some good fires tonight? SRF sister, how are you? So again, like we've been doing normally on Saturday nights, where are you from? And let me know what time it is. Bud, I know you are kind of West Coast, right? Bud, actually, you are in Texas. Where are you at in Texas, Bud? I think I've asked you this before. I've got my comments, so comment away. Comment crazy tonight. I've got them. We are going to be in business. Uh-oh, I got shit falling everywhere. We're going to be in business. Bud said it's too cold outside. What's too cold for Texas, Bud? I'm curious what too cold is for you. Because we're actually kind of in a warm spell where we're at. It's been very cold here. I'm having my dinner right now, so SRF, it's 10 o'clock. SRF, you are an hour ahead of me then, okay. Yeah, this is my dinner real quick. So SRF, you are a very reliable, you are a constant watcher, which is awesome. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Bud, Rockport, Texas, home of Hurricane Harvey. Oh, that's lovely. So Rockport, I know whenever you post, Bud, you're always showing videos where you are Corpus Christi. So Rockport is close right there by Corpus. I know you show pictures of you going on the ferry and stuff, or you vlog that, which is awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. Your channel. You have all the beautiful views. You always do the sunrises. Oh, yeah, the morning sunrise rides. Going to work. So we had a full moon today, people. Bud, did you have a fire last night for your full moon? Did you tell me what too cold was, Bud? I don't see it here. I haven't officially lit my candle yet. So we're going to wait for all the other stars to join us. And once we have a few more people, we'll light the candle. We'll officially begin. Get out of here, Bud. You're lying. 70 degrees is too cold. You're spoiled. I think I need a little bit more lighting. Oh, hell, that is bright. Let's tone it down a little bit. SRF says, I think I have the transits down. That would be great. So tell me, SRF, when you're talking about the transits that you think you have down, help me understand what, like, just give me more details about that. What do you mean by that? Because I would love to hear about what you're talking about. No, I can't take credit for it, sister. You know, astrology, you have to have the desire for the knowledge and the consistency to keep following through. So no doubt you've done some reading on your own and some, you know, just reading and listening to other people other than me, I'm sure. I know I get confused when I hear myself when I'm listening to the things I've recorded. And I'm like, okay, did I just say that? Okay, so you taught me to go to each degree, and I don't know, it's just clicking now. Oh, good, really? Something as simple as that? Well, that, you know what, sometimes, I know for me in the way that I learn, if the details are missing, if somebody's teaching me something and they're skipping over the details, I'm totally lost because there's a part of me that knows there's something missing and it doesn't jive. It doesn't make sense to me. Aline Mello, am I saying your name right? If I batch it up, don't worry. I apologize. It's nothing personal, but don't forget to thumb us up. And let me see, Aline, good evening and welcome to the Star Room. I'm going to read your comment. I was waiting for this live while I was watching one from last week. Oh, awesome. Brazil. Hello, Brazil. What time is it where you are, Brazil? We're glad to have you. We've got Texas in the house where it's 70 degrees. And Texas, what time is it by you? I think you're an hour behind me. And we've got Kentucky representing here, Kentucky, USA, 10 o'clock at night. It's 9 o'clock by me. We haven't lit our star room candle yet, but we will because we're going to go and begin officially. And we'll light the candle, we'll get some sage going, and we're going to like raise our frequencies together. We had a full moon today and we did a full moon ceremony. So for all of those who wanted in on it, your name, we created prayer ties for you guys, which is great. And the ceremony, of course, we yeah, native guides, the archangels, whoever and whatever. It's very spontaneous. There is a degree of planning involved, of course, with writing the prayer ties out, with those intentions. But today, as it being a full moon, it was about a release. What are you letting go? What are you releasing? And so we did all of that, and it was a nice big fire. And I'm fortunate because where I live, we have a fireplace in the house. So in the summer months, we have an outdoor fireplace system. In the winter months, we're able to come inside and still have a fire. So I'm very, very, very fortunate that way to be able to continue the ceremonies for people. So anytime we have a new moon and a full moon, I'm just going to touch upon this real quickly, and then I'm going to get to the comments. I will get to every comment. So please keep commenting, because when you comment, when you share, everything, your comments, your sharing, your thumbs up, all that will help this. And the more that this gets put out there, the more I can, it frees me up to do other things for you guys, like really cool things. So things you're gonna love. All right. So yeah, please do that, and we'll get to the good stuff. But before I go further into that, before I light the candle and officially begin, just keep in mind that full moon energy is about releasing. And because it was a Virgo full moon, okay, with the Virgo full moon, it's about habits and routines, health routines, work habits, work routines. Virgo is also about hygiene, right? It's also about your health, your digestion, your stomach, right? So think about those things. Think about the habits. Think about the virus, right? And us being told, yeah, we gotta wash our hands. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I got a lot of comments coming up, and that's wonderful. Keep them going. I will get to each and every single one of you, and I've got comments in both places tonight, so we're good. I'm assuming the audio is good. If not, Sheila, I see you're here. Hello, Sheila. Thank you for coming through. Lake George Thrift, I haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you. Where are you at, Lake George Thrift? You said it's 10 p.m., so you're an hour ahead of me. But where are you at in the States? Don't forget to thumb the live. And I'm assuming the audio sounds good, because once we've got everybody in the house, we're going to light the candle, we're going to burn some sage, and we're going to talk about today's full moon. We're going to talk about some of the transits that are coming up, the upcoming transits. I wanted to be able to do that for you guys. They're going to be relevant transits, so that means we're going to be talking about Mars, which is a big deal. And then we'll see what else happens. We'll see, there might be some special messages and, readings that come through for individuals. But SRS, I'm not going to forget about you, because we're going to go through that and talk about your transits a little bit more, because some people might not understand some of the things you said earlier, which was, I just started looking at the degrees. For some folks, they're just brand new. And so I really want this to be a platform where everybody feels comfortable to talk about or ask questions, regardless of where you're at with astrology. Like, if you don't know anything about it, we were all at that place one day. Okay, so please, don't hesitate, and just slam the comment sections, whatever you do, because when I was looking back at the analytics, they count my comments. I had no idea. Like the chats, they literally count that stuff. And how many people comment and respond as I'm speaking has everything to do with the algorithm and what it will do after we've shut the live down, like once it's done. And so anyhow, we just want to hey, show up for Saturday night, Starry Night Live. So I'm going to begin now. We're going to go ahead and light this candle. I have the door shut, and I don't think there's a cat in here, but you never know. And I'm still chewing on a little bit of my dinner, and there's some of the other lighting. So we've got our candle lit, and then I'm going to burn some sage here, which is for the ceremony that I had earlier today. We always begin by burning sage. We clear out the area. it's, you know, it's the whole idea of if you were working today, or say you had you know, a discussion about something that, you know, something that may be heavy, you know, or highly emotionally charged. You know, sage for me anyway helps to clear a lot. It just works wonders for me. You know, other people use different things. Some people use sound. You know, some people use visuals to clear. Just the scent and the smell of sage works really well for me. So by doing that and releasing and letting go, right? This is another big full moon thing. Letting go. Yeah, we threw a lot of sage into the fire at the beginning. Actually, what we do typically, it's just me and one other person, my fire keeper. We will literally crush the sage in our hands and smell that raw sage before we even throw it into the fire. There's something also about that sage, that dried sage crushed and smelling it, and kind of letting it lift whatever the emotions that you have or the thoughts and the feelings, and just releasing them, so that when it comes time for ceremony, when it comes time to, you know, to speak to the archangels, to feel that those higher frequencies, to, because that's what you got to do. You got to kind of elevate yourself. You can't expect the higher frequencies to come all the way down, right? So it works out really well for me. And tell me, what do you guys do? If there's, you know, if you guys are out there and you have special things that you do to release, to let go, to help you to just kind of like melt away, whether it's anger or frustration or sadness. What is it? Do you have a go-to routine, right? Some people, they like to listen to music, right? I see universal voices in the house. Go, right? Music, that's a big one. Universal Voice does a lot of good music on their channel with great visuals. It's just a really cool ambiance that it sets up. It's in a very beautiful space. Bud does the fire. That's me, totally fire, right? I like to say, actually, I like a lot of different things. I like the visual, I like the smell, I like, yeah, temperature, right? The fire, seeing a fire does a big thing for me. I used to, before I would do the ceremonies, I would, when I lived alone, I didn't have a fireplace or anything like that. I would typically simply light a candle. That was a big deal for me. And I would light that candle, and sometimes that sage would burn. And I started reading smoke signals. That sounds crazy. But like that sage would burn, I'd be alone, like all the windows were closed, and I would see that sage moving, the smoke moving in a certain way. And I'd be like I would start looking at it, and I'm like, okay, like I'm getting messages. It was the wildest, coolest thing. So let me read some of the comments I got here. Keep commenting. We're going to get to all of them. Keep commenting. That is going to help every single bit. So we got Bud's Backyard in the house. That's a YouTuber. Check his channel out. Bud, like I said, has a lot of great stuff. Bud's got the surf, the sun, the sand. He is funny. He is a creator, not just on YouTube, but he does a lot of very crafty, creative things in his yard. But I saw you doing some yard art. I would love, I think I asked you a question, or maybe I didn't ask you, or anyway, do you do fairies at all, Bud? I'm just curious. Let me know. So Bud said it's too cold in Texas, but 70 degrees is too cold for him to have a fire outside. And I'd be doing a fire outside in 70 degrees because, hey, I'm in, you know, Midwest, and for us, that's on the warm side. Let me see. SRF, anything? Okay, I already said that one. Thank you, lady. Hello, Brazil. Brazil's in the house, which is awesome. Aline, I waited for this. Awesome. Almost midnight in Brazil. Oh, wow. It's really late. I'm sorry. Okay, so Aline, if you have a special question, or if you have something that you want me to touch upon, or if you, yeah, just let me know and I will get to you right away because it's late where you are. SRF, yeah, me too, girl. Me too. It's like I need things to marinate in my brain for a while before I can. It's like there's a delay in the learning. Once it sits and marinates and I can wrap my brain around it, it's almost like it takes a minute to get comfortable with an idea or with this new learning, whatever it might be, and then I learn. So we've got Bud says it's 9 o'clock where he is. Sheila's vlog. Sheila again. Sheila is in Korea. What time is it there, Sheila? Thumbs up and shared. Bud shared it out. Yes, everybody share it out as much as you can. That would be great. That helps the live. SRF, I had a scare with my daughter. Okay. I'm not surprised, SRF. Remember, I looked at your chart a while back. I didn't give you any details because I kind of asked you and you were like, I hope it's good news. And you know what? It's not to say, hey, it's bad news, but sometimes the anxiety is worse for people. And so I'm very cautious as to what I share. And I also had another person, another that came in and said the same thing, that said something like, you know what, I like to know things, but I've been told negative things. Like I had more than one person tell me this, where somebody told them something not positive about their husband or their partner. And it was something really bad. Like they told them, oh, so and so is going to die. And so I had I've had like three people that I know who have told me this. And they said like a psychic or somebody told them. And when they heard that news, it freaked them out. They were nothing but sheer anxiety and fear the entire time. And then they apparently, the day came or the date came when the bad was supposed to happen. It never happened. And they regret it. Like it was like, okay, so it never happened. So that entire time I was extremely anxious about what I thought was going to happen. And that anxiety, that fear, it does a lot of damage. And so I'm very careful, at least I try to be, for people and to what I share. And I want people to be really honest with me. Like, let me know. So I have some people who've said, just give it to me straight. I can handle it. I'm a big girl. And other people who are like, you know what? I want to know. But if it's something bad, just kind of like, give it to me in a way where it sounds, not so horrible, or I don't want to know anything negative. I've had people tell me that too. So, and I understand that and I respect that. I totally, totally respect that because that's not my place to decide what's good for you. It's not my place. That's your place to let me know. And so I respect that. And I want you guys to just be totally honest with me about that. And I totally honor that. Your free will is important to me. It really is. That's what makes this very difficult for me, actually, is that SRF, if you want to go into detail about what that was, I would be more than happy to read, but maybe not here. So if you want to email me, you can do that. But I would love to find out what happened. And you said it was a scare, so I'm assuming that means things are stabilized and better. So Lake George Thrift, I haven't seen you in so long. It's so good that you're here. It's 10 p.m. I'm so happy to see you. SRF, it turned out to be good considering the situation in hospital now with her. Okay, so everything's under control. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, Sheila's in Seoul, Korea, and she says that it's midnight there as well. Oh, no, 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 Sheila, I remember this is 12:03 p.m. for you in Korea. Bud says, I need to get that thing light. I need to get my fire lit. Is that what it is, Bud? You need to get your fire lit? Shaniqua, Natural Remedies. Hey, girl, how are you? Natural Remedies is in the house. So good to see you. Going first time I'm seeing you on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been a long time. Natural Remedies, where are you at? Where are you from and what time is it where you're at? This is only our third live. We're doing these Saturday night lives, star readings. Welcome to the Star Room. I'm so glad that you're here. What time is it where you're at, Natural Remedies? Natural Remedies channel, by the way, if you haven't been there, check her channel out. What she shows you how to do there, it's very cool. She makes her own lip stuff, like whether it's a lip balm, lip gloss, it's all natural, and she makes it, and it's really cool because they're quick videos, but she shows you each step, and many times I've had lots of questions because I'm very much about the things being very natural, and so she gets back and answers your questions. Anyway, another great personality on YouTube. So, Bud, you can see the moon right now where you're at. It's really cloudy here, actually. And so for those who have just joined, it is a full moon today. The full moon time, I know this is going to be confusing, began roughly, it was like, for where I'm at, it was like 2:03 a.m. Central Standard Time was when the sun and the moon matched the degrees. And so it was 9 degrees of Virgo is what we're talking about. And when I say match the degrees, it meant it's an opposition. So we had the Pisces sun at 9 degrees and the Virgo moon at 9 degrees. And so you have that opposition. And that's the full moon. That's when the moon reflects the sun's light. Okay. And so that leads to the recent video I put up, which had everything to do with remember your free will, our ability, right? If you go check out that video, your free will, your ability to create that which you want, the moon reflects the sun. The sun is all about your thinking. It's all about your desire, your willpower. and you choose what to think. You choose, right, what to focus on, what to put your light on, and the moon will reflect it. And so they become one. They become this like army, so to speak, that you have that works for you, that works towards what it is that you're focusing your light on. And that is how we manifest. That is how we create what we want in our life. Good morning, Universal Voice. It's so great that you're here. Thank you. What time is it where you're at, Universal? And you're in India? If you could put that in for me again. Sometimes I am really good at remembering. Sometimes Charming Lion, I know it's late. I'm so sorry. I know. Thank you for showing up, sister. I'm so glad you're here. I'm really, God, for everybody that showed up, thank you. Don't forget to put a thumbs up for the live and to share it out and to keep commenting. Whatever you do, keep commenting. That helps. I didn't realize this till I was looking at my analytics, but when you go back and look at the live, they are actually keeping track of how many times somebody put a chat into the thing there. And it was like, oh my gosh. And so anyway, it's all dependent on how the algorithm will put you out and recommend you afterwards. And so the whole point is that we want the star room to be a big deal because my goal is to not have this just one night. I want to have this for 2 nights. I want to be able to divide the star room up if possible to go 2 nights a week. We'll see. I'm working on that. We'll see. I don't know if that's possible, but I know not everybody can make Saturday night. Some people probably need daytime hours. I don't know. I really want to be accessible for people on the other side of the world. And so I know for some folks it's, different time zones. And so that has a lot to do with it. So we've got Shaniqua. Okay, I already said that one. Let me keep going here. So Sheila said, I'm finishing my other online meeting. Yes, go finish your meeting, sister. Thank you for coming by. We'll welcome you back. Universal says, I'm outside. Oh, okay. Thank you, Sheila, for playing me on the laptop. Donna just showed up. Donna's in the house. Thank you, girl. Give me your thumbs up. Give me share this out and comment. So let me see. Upstate New York. All right. We've got Lake George Thrift, upstate New York. I'll tell you when it's not on the live. Got you. I understand. SRF. No problem. Subliminal Radio's in the house. Hello, lady. How are you? I took a look at your chart. You put your information below the last reading, the last live, which is awesome. So I did take a look at your chart for you. And I'm going to let me see, what am I going to do? Here, I've got you written down. I want to make sure that before tonight is over, Subliminal, that you know what your ascendant sign is and that you know what your rising and ascendant and that you know what your moon sign is. That's important. When you know those first 3 things, that gets you started on the road to understanding yourself. There's a lot of different things in astrology, but if you just know your sun, your moon, and your rising sign, it's knowing a lot without having to dive super deep into it, because that's nearly impossible to do in the beginning. There's just so much to learn. It doesn't make sense, right? So you just want to know those 3 main things, and so I'm gonna go over that with you. Awesome, New York. Yes. So, okay, I learned these transits better. Thanks for the shout out. Yes, bud. Get that fire going soon. I learned these transits better, so I already knew I was prepared as good as I could be. Okay, awesome, SRF. I'm so glad. And if there's anything that you have questions about and understanding that, would help you, just, don't hesitate. Ask those questions, and I'll try to answer them, and hopefully they'll be, hopefully they'll help you out. So, Aline Mello. Okay, I also lighted a candle. Awesome. And incense here to help building. Yes, awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to read that. Yes, Brazil. I love it. There's also, God, I can't remember her name. There was another really wonderful supporter. I haven't seen her in a while. Oh, I can't remember her name. Her and her little boy. She was such a sweetheart, but she was also in Brazil. But the last time I heard from her, it's been a while. It's been a long while. Okay, it wouldn't scare me because I understand it and that I'm okay with the straightforward. Oh, okay. See, SRF, I wasn't sure. When I asked if you wanted me to email you, I didn't think I got a clear answer, and so I was really hesitant. And so I thought, I'm going to wait. You have an open line of communication with me. Anybody can comment, and you guys can email me. And if it's something as simple as me taking quick, simple looks, I don't have a problem with that. And this was a very specific thing. And so always, I know everybody doesn't have always have the time, but just, the fastest way is to comment to me under a video, and then yeah, that's the first place I go. And then I can take that quick look and give you the more detailed information. But I'm glad that everything has turned out okay. So let me see here. It wouldn't scare me. Okay. Universal voice. Bye. I'll get back to you years later. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Universal. Thank you for stopping by. I know you said you were outside. Thank you, Universal. Okay. Yes. Happy weekend to you. Happy weekend to you. So we've got Charming Lion. Awesome. How are you doing, Charming Lion? It is so great that you are here. I'm really excited about that. How was your full moon today, right? We had the full moon in Virgo. I have a couple of examples of this full moon in Virgo. I know on the last live, one of the things that was mentioned after the live, or maybe even during, was give examples. Give like day-to-day practical examples of events that can connect to the astrology, right? To connect to things up in the sky, things that are relevant. And it's a great way of understanding, of seeing the connectivity. So if there's a Virgo full moon, the full moon is about like emotions, right? It's about feelings. The moon represents family too. So you might have seen things happening with family members, or maybe had discussions with family members, or talked about past things with family members, because this is a releasing time, right? It's the full moon. And this started yesterday here in this household. There was a lot of conversations about mom, right? Whether it was my mom, I have two housemates, whether it was their mothers. Not everybody, actually, I think my mother is the only one that's still living. Both of my housemates, their mothers have already passed on. And so there's conversations about mom, and things about growing up, things about childhood and family. And that's what the full moon represents. But because it's a release and it's a healing, it's about looking back and observing some of those things from childhood or from my family or about mom, and recognizing some of those things might have been painful, right? Because not everyone's childhood was lovely. A lot of folks, matter of fact, have many things that they can recall that they just wish had been different, right? But the whole part about experiencing stuff like that is that you made it through, that you handled it, that you persevered, and that you look back upon it and you think, wow, I made it through that. I made it through a time where I don't even know how I made it. How did I live through that? How did I make it? But years later, and it does take years later, because like there's a whole process of tea healing. There's like all these layers, right? But years later, you look back and you think, oh my gosh, even though it was difficult, I learned something from it, right? And it's in that learning, it's being able to look back, it's the hindsight and saying, okay, this is what I learned from it. Even though I didn't like the experience, I got something out of it. And many times it's what you got out of it, it's your greatest hurts, matter of fact, is where you can then share that and help others. You help others who are going through that thing. And so it's important to process and then to get to a place where you can share. And I know that's different for everybody. So this is not about me saying, hey, you need to be able to do that right now. But the goal is to one day to be there where you can get through that and be able to share it, because there's somebody going through that very same thing right now. And it may not be identical in the details, but it is the same in the big picture. And that's the connection that we make. That's where here we are all stars, right? You're a star, I'm a star. We're all stars. This is the Star Room. This is the Starrynight Live. And I'm just going to start scrolling through these messages now so that we can get to everybody. And then if I got native people coming in and want to talk, because the ancestral thing for me that comes through is the natives, is my guides who are, I don't know what tribe, and it's not important because they've told me themselves in the past, many years ago, you call me whatever name you're comfortable with. I don't go by a name, you call me what's good for you. The name means nothing. It's just a form of making conversation easier. And so I'm not big on saying, hey, my guide's name is such and such. That's really not my thing. So I will just share that information as it comes through. But when we talk about the full moon and ancestral and heritage and you know, your forefathers, and where did your family come from and all that. That's what speaks and comes through loudest for me, okay? And if you have a crew set up and you've got that, I know Donna, you're here in the audience somewhere, and Charming Lion and Subliminal. I know you guys all do this kind of work, right? And so chime in anytime you want, comment, you know, what it is and how that works for you, because we're all different. And here, I want that to be emphasized. I want that to be where I shine the light, is on your differences and your differences being embraced here. I think that is extremely important. And I can say this easily and with comfort because when I look at someone's chart and I see the differences and I see how extreme, or I just see all this variety, all the beautiful variety, it is your differences that is embraced. And so we are supposed to be different. It is the opposite of what society teaches us, which is, well, we're all going to do it this way. Cookie cutter society. Here it's the opposite, okay? So just remember, your differences are embraced here. That's important. So let me go back. So let me go back a little bit here and see, so I can catch up and just get to everybody. That's important. I keep seeing flames from Bud, which I love. Keep the fire rolling, Bud. Even if it's just in the chat, keep the flames going. Okay, so we've got Shanika. Okay, I already said that one. Amazing background. Thank you, Shanika, for the comment and for the compliment about the amazing background. I like it too. And everybody, I've gotten a lot of positive responses about it. Light it up, Bud said. Yes, Bud, light it up. I'm finishing. Okay, I already read that one. All right. Universal's here in the building. Okay. Universal, you're magical. You're here, you're there, you're outside, you're everywhere. Big fire. Yes, Bud. Absolutely. Let's see here. Okay, I was prepared. I already read that one. Incense. So yeah, I use sage. What are some of the incenses you guys use that you like? Because I know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of different senses, and we're all different. So what I like, you may not like, and what you like, I may not like. That I know is a big deal. It's a big deal for me. Okay, Universal, I am not sure, but I think you're saying that it says 2 weeks can't reach. I'll get back to you. I'll get back years later to know lot 2 weeks can't reach by. Okay, I missed that. Didn't know what that meant, but that's okay. So Donna, I said hello to you. Charming Lion, I'm still up sewing. I just took a break. Get out of here. You're still working? Well, you make your own hours. That's the beauty, right, of being your own boss. You get to work when you want to work, and vice versa, right? Well, I'm thrilled. So like, if you're still working, then we can just keep on talking, and you can keep on working if you want, and chime in whenever you want. But yeah, Donna, it's so good. I'm so glad you're here. Aline, okay, Pisces and Virgo. Yes, Pisces and Virgo. Pisces and Virgo are on the axis of my second and my eighth house. Okay. So they're on the axis of your second and your eighth house. Do you by any chance know what the degrees are, Aline? I don't recognize your name, so I don't think I've ever looked at your chart. If you want, you could always leave your birth digits, whether you want to put it below the video in the comments, or under any other video, or if you want to just email me, you can do that. I draw up free charts. I look at them. I take quick peeks for free. That's not a problem. But you said you've got Pisces and Virgo on the axis of your eighth house. So you're not telling me if Pisces is on the second or on the eighth, like which is which, because that makes a difference. The second house, let's talk about the second house for anybody who's listening and who wants to learn, right? Your second house is what, folks? All my astrology people, right? What's the second house? Help me out. I might not be able to remember everything. The second house, first of all, is typically ruled by the Taurus energy, right? So when we think of Taurus, we think of desires, right? And values, what I want, right? That's Taurus energy. Taurus is about your material, your tangible world, but it can also be the non-tangible, right? And that's the goal of the second house, the Taurus energy, is to elevate and not be totally fixated on just a material, tangible thing. It's to raise your energy up and realize that there are things that are of value that aren't necessarily just the material. Okay, that's important. So the second house is your income. We didn't talk about that yet, but your income, it's how you receive, right? It's your capabilities of incoming energy. And so that can be love, that can be money, that can be just how you receive anything. So that could be information. The second house, Taurus energy, is fixed earth energy. So that's important too, because earth means it's tangible material things, right? It's things that you can hold in your hand. But again, when we think about things we value in tangible resources and we think about the earth, right? Gosh, gasoline, oil, right? All the natural resources that the earth has. So we're kind of moving away from that. And that's one of the goals, actually, when we elevate and we realize what's happening just in general of how we've been dependent on natural resources, and basically kind of like, stripping the earth of her wonderful gifts, of her abundance, but learning how to live beyond that. So yeah, finding out whether you have Pisces, because if you have Pisces there, let's just say this, because some people listening may have Pisces on their second house. If you have Pisces in the second house, Pisces makes that energy, it's elusive. It can make things disappear. So if somebody has Pisces in their second house, right, even if they don't have planets there, it can seem as though you can't figure out how to make money. Like the idea of what I would do to make money, it may escape you. Because Pisces energy, right, it's ruled by Neptune, it literally makes something disappear. Just like that. It's like, okay, now I see it, now I don't. So money may disappear, income may disappear. You may not be able to have a clear understanding of what you value. Okay, keep that in mind. So I'm going to keep reading until I have a definite answer as to what's in what house for you, so I could be more specific. Okay, yeah, overcast and foggy, but same here. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on, hold on, hold on. Have patience, folks. Okay, good. Okay, I'm with you, posting to your playlist for free readings. We are all learning. Thank you, Subliminal. Yes, I want to understand. Okay, so I'm assuming Subliminal, you're talking about your chart. Okay, so Subliminal, because you had submitted your information, which helps if you submit your stuff ahead of time, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here beyond the live and then just start drawing your chart up. Not possible. It's not fair to the people in the chat. So you are a Capricorn rising, Subliminal. Capricorn rising. Okay. So in other words, if someone is a Capricorn rising, this is a benefit physically. Capricorn, they have physical strength. Physical strength. Now, depending upon some of the aspects to it, there may have been depending upon things that change the planetary cycles when they move, it could mean you have moments where you are extremely physically fit. Like Capricorn energy is the climber. Always got these goals, always wants to go higher, but also wanting to go physically higher, right? To physically climb. So that's one thing. Now, Capricorns, when we talk about the physical body, because it is your appearance, okay? So you may appear as somebody who's like a go-getter. People may look at you and think, okay, that person's got a lot of ambitions. That person's got a lot of goals. Because Capricorns typically are that. They typically appear to be hard workers. Okay, remember this is appearances. Appearances can be deceptive, and I'm only saying that because it's the truth, right? It's the cover of the book. We've talked about this before. If you haven't heard about this, your ascendant is it's what people think they know about you by the first glance. I always refer to it as the cover of the book or the cover of the movie that you rented, right? You've never seen it and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, wow, this looks like this would be good. Does that mean it was good? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's better than you thought it would be. Sometimes it's a surprise, right? So Capricorns, Capricorn is that sign that's willing to work hard, that's willing to work little by little, that's willing to be diligent, to work by piecemeal. And so I want you to keep that in mind. When we talk about the physical attributes of Capricorn, it is the things that are hard in the body. So it's the spine, it's the bones, it's the teeth, it's the knees. This is important to know because I didn't take a deeper look yet. Because again, I want to know if you want to know like future things or whatever for me to take a quick look at for you. because being clear about what you want to know is important. And you did share some information with me earlier about that. And so, again, I want to honor that. That's important. And that doesn't mean there's bad things. It doesn't mean that at all. Okay. Just so don't get scared or worried. It doesn't mean that. But understanding that when things move, you may feel very empowered, or you may feel times where it's like, oh my gosh, where is my energy? And I'm saying this because your sun sign is in Pisces. And I know you already know that part, that you have a Pisces sun. But what you might not know is that when you have a Pisces sun, having the sun in Pisces is the best way to put this is it's a physical challenge in a sense. Okay, it's a physical challenge. So having Capricorn on your ascendant can actually help you, can actually give you physical strength. Okay. But Pisces and the sun is the ability to shine, whereas Pisces can literally, it can make that sunlight disappear a little bit, okay? So sometimes your ability to express and radiate may seem stifled, okay? And there's a wound there connected to that. I will tell you that much. There's a wound from your childhood. It could be a wound from a past life, whatever you feel better, however that feels better to hear for you. So remember, a wound connected to that. And it's strong because it's right next to your sun. For those who are astrology people, this means she has Chiron right next to her sun. They have the same degrees. She's got a Pisces sun and her Pisces Chiron at 8 degrees, and they're together. So in other words, her sun almost amplifies the wound, right? It makes that wound hot to touch, and it may make that wound hard to heal, actually. So knowing this in advance, mentally, because I know subliminal, you are a mental queen, right? You work on mind training and being positive and optimistic, and you're a big believer in the power of your thoughts, which is what jumped out at me when I saw your chart. You have certain things set up in your chart, sister, which when I hear you say, oh yeah, I can do that, that's easy for me. Yes, it is easy for you. And I could show you astrologically why it's easy for you. I can pinpoint it for you. But I'm not going to say it here because I'll just be spewing a bunch of astrological knowledge, and it's not going to really mean anything to you. But for those who are listening that have the astrological knowledge, first of all, she has a mystic rectangle. Okay, so the mystic rectangle, when people have that in their chart, it typically signifies a soul that is kind of built in angles in which they can use to their advantage. Okay, and it's not a bad thing, and it could be a disadvantage at times because then we expect things to always work out to our advantage. But you also have some other things, right, that are angling Jupiter in your chart. And it makes it very powerful because you have Jupiter in Taurus. So it makes it very powerful. Remember, Taurus is values, Taurus is money. And you have Jupiter that trines your Taurus, and it's trining, I don't have it memorized, but it's trining something else. And it was very, oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's training like your Uranus and your Mars and your Pluto, another Earth sign. It's all this Virgo energy. So you have a lot of powerful Earth. Your ascendant's in Earth. You've got those 3 outer planets in Earth. Anyway, you've got a lot going on that enables you to be able to do that. So just understand that, because that's important when you're dealing with other folks. Because subliminal, you're a wonderful teacher to teach people how to reprogram their minds. And for those who are here listening, if you haven't been to her channel, go check out Subliminal Radio. And I'm not saying this just because she's here in the chat, but I first found her, I stumbled upon her channel, and I realized, wow, I like the light that this channel radiates. It's phenomenal. She has like 8 and 10 minute or I'm sorry, 8 and 12 hour, what do I want to call it? Yeah, I'll just say uploads that you can literally go to sleep with if you're into that sort of thing. And it literally can reprogram you while you're sleeping. And so that's phenomenal. And it's very positive and optimistic, okay? So if you're interested in something like that, do it. And if not, that's fine too. But my whole point is that subliminal, you do a wonderful job with that, okay? And so for some reason, I don't have your paper in here with me. I don't know where it's at, but I can pull your chart up to remember what your moon sign is, because that's what you need to know. your moon sign, but I do remember that your moon is very well aspected, actually. You're very fortunate because there are some other things in your chart, subliminal, that are difficult, actually. Actually, there's quite a few things in your chart that are very, very difficult. So having that mystic rectangle and having that other trine aspect to your Jupiter is a benefit. It helps to balance your chart out because you do have some very challenging things. Oh, I don't want to lose this live, so hold on a second. I don't want to lose the comments, and I'm always working on someone else's equipment. But what I want you to keep in mind is your moon sign. Okay, your moon sign, subliminal. Your moon is angled with your sun. Okay, with your sun and your Chiron. So when I talked about the wound earlier, your sun highlighting your wound, because it's being beautifully angled by your natal moon is your emotions, okay? And your moon and your sun are sextiling each other really nicely. So they complement each other. They're having conversations together. So your Pisces sun talks to, it must be your moon in Taurus because it's a sextile. That would make sense. I have to double check though. But either way, your emotions are grounded in earth, okay? And they're supported by Piscean waters, which I refer to Piscean waters as like angel wings, okay? So you have a big benefit that way where your moon is supported. And that's beautiful. That's really a beautiful, beautiful thing to have because it helps you to get through the hard times. A lot of folks, you know, they may have other things that are simple, but if their moon is angled in a difficult way, when difficult things happen, it has so much to do with that moon. And if the moon is rough, it's rough. It's really rough. But your moon supports you to stay calm, to be grounded, and to be able to elevate, to know that everything's going to be okay. Not to say you don't have difficult moments because your sun is there with that Piscean, you know, Chiron and that hurt. But it's there's some beautiful things. Now, subliminal, what I am going to tell you right now is that what you're doing, okay, the work that you're doing on YT, I want you to keep doing that. I want you to keep doing that because in your chart, the angles, okay, the trine, where it's your sixth house of money and work and career, trining your midheaven, it's all air. You've got the house of job and work routines is air, and that's what's in your midheaven is air. And that also angles up nicely with your first and your second house. It's all air. So that means that working with the public, working digitally with people, with having digital neighbors, having digital groups that you work with is phenomenal for you. It's going to work out wonderfully. It's where your strength is. So I don't know if this is new for you. I don't know if you, because there's been so many new YouTubers in 2020. So whether it's new for you, I don't even know how old your channel is. Just know that this is a good thing for you. I would recommend that you keep working at it and keep doing what you're doing, and definitely don't give up. I mean, for all the people who are here in the chat, if you're on YouTube, YouTube can be very difficult. There's that grind that it's like, oh my God, you know? And then when you get monetized, you're like, where's the money? You know, and it's like, you know, don't believe anybody that tells you they got monetized and they're just rolling in the dough. Don't believe that for a second. That's not how it works. There is still work to do. There is still work to do at every level you get to, but it does change. It's not the same kind of work. It will evolve and it changes, which is beautiful. Oh no, I just see chat with K. I'm in the ER. Okay, chat with K. Chat with K, everybody here in the chat, start sending up prayers for Chat with Kay. She's in the ER. She's got some difficulties. I'm assuming that these are difficulties with her, and hopefully everything turns out well. So Chat with Kay, we will send up prayers for you. So everybody in the chat, please put some prayers out there for Chat with Kay, and let her, you know, pray that things come out smoothly and beautifully for her, and that she gets through what she's going through, and that she's okay. Yes, Chat with Kay. We are with you, sister. You were involved in the ceremony today. I always make sure to include you and your husband, because she's going through she's been going through some difficult times, and never, you know, always got her in our, yes, we can take a moment. Absolutely subliminal. Take a moment, everybody, for Chat with Kay. Let's raise up some prayers for her and make sure that we send her the support, the peace of mind, because that is really important, that we send her this. I know she has a service dog, and hopefully King is with you, sis. They found more blood clots. Okay, well, this is good news that they found them. I hope you have King with you. And if you don't have King with you, well, then we will be your support. King is usually, King assists her in ways where he keeps her calm, right? Where he keeps her stable, and he helps her out big time. He's this big, beautiful German Rottweiler, and he is just a big bear, her big cuddy buddy, right? That's what she calls him. So, Chat with Kay, I'm going to take a few seconds here, and I'm going to focus, and we're going to work on sending you up some support for you to stay calm and to know that everything's going to be okay, that you are in good hands. You are right where you belong. Yes. You've got him with you. Mr. Man has to work tonight. Okay. I'm glad you have King with you. That's excellent. Yes, excellent. See, Mama Kay, everyone's praying for you, sis. We are all with you, sis. I'm so glad that you're able to be here and that you're able to be with us, because we're here with you, sis. Hopefully you also can, yeah, I don't know if you're able to, does Mr. Man know that you're at the hospital? I'm sitting here wondering how you got there. Like, who took you to the hospital? I know you don't drive, and I'm grateful that you're there and that you're at the hospital and that you're around people who can help you. You're around professionals. But don't worry, Mama Kay. You're going to be okay. Mr. Man is not having, Mr. Man is not having tonight. Okay, I'm not, yeah. But yes, prayers and good vibes. Oh, Mr. Man did bring you. Oh, good. Good, 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 good. I'm glad to hear that. Awesome. So that's what you're saying. Okay. I'm cheating and I'm reading it on the phone, and it goes so fast. That's why, and I should be reading it here. I can actually read the full thing before another person comments. But yeah, you guys keep commenting. That helps. Thumb it up and share it out. So yes, I'm going to take a second here. Mr. Brand brought you awesome. Okay, I'm so glad that Mr. Man is there with you. This is so wonderful. So Mama Kay, yes. I'm going to surround you in I use blue light. I know I've seen other light colors in here, white, and it's not about wrong or right. You do what you know is how you work. That's how you do this. It's not about wrong or right, okay? It's what works for you. And so calming that mind, because it all begins here. If we can stay calm here, know that we are right where we belong, that we are divinely guided, we are divinely protected. We are, even in the times when it's just, yeah, super uncomfortable, and then we find out later on, oh, it was a good thing this and this happened. So Mama Kay, we've got you in our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers. And going to take just a second here to focus on you. And I don't know if Miss A is watching. She's a really good long distance traveler and sends healing energy. She works with some very high energies, and usually she's watching sometime or somewhere in this. And so if she is, Amy Brown, send up support to Mama Kay. Okay. You keep us close by, Mama Kay. We are right here with you. She said not having it tonight. Oh, I got it. I know what you're talking about. Mr. Man brought you. He's not having it tonight. I got you. I know what you're talking about. He ain't dealing with the nonsense. He's saying we're getting to the bottom of this, and then no one's gonna be playing any games with his wife. Okay. All right. So let me see. Let's try to get back into the chat here. And Mama Kay, anytime you want, you just come in and chime in, and we are with you. Oh, SRF, I'm reading right now something that you just wrote that said, I looked in my email, but I didn't want to bother you in case you got busy. No, I was checking my email to see. And I didn't see anything. I really thought, because I didn't hear from you, that you didn't want to hear the information. And so I thought, you know what, I just won't say anything. But, sometimes it is what it is. It turned out the way that it turned out for that reason. Okay. And so I have to trust that it just turned out that way. Thanks. I am listening. Okay, Mama Kay. Yeah. And so, Mama Kay, one of the things that we mentioned earlier, you just chimed in, but when we first started, we were talking about this full moon event and the idea of the full moon being all about a release and a letting go. And because it's in the Virgo energies, it's typically about our health habits, our health routines. It's our work and our work habits and our work routines too. And it can also be our domestic pets, right? And so it's a letting go. And so a lot of times, at least in the conversations that I've had yesterday and today, there was a lot of conversations about our family and our family, like our moms, how our family life was growing up. So for a lot of people, this can be their ancestors, but it can be, their immediate family. It can be, yeah, it was my mom growing up. But it could be nurturing mother energy, but things that we learned or things that were instilled upon us that no longer serve us anymore. Okay, so there may be things that we were taught that we realize as adults now, we're like, that doesn't really work for me anymore. It doesn't jive with me. They didn't kick him tonight. I'm listening. They didn't kick him tonight. I'm not ignoring anybody else's comments. It's just if Mama Case is popping in, I'm trying to make sure that, okay. Because I'm really trying to go in order. I'm really trying to stick to some sense of order. Let me see here. Yes, okay. Check the notes. I'm okay with you posting to your place. Okay, I got that. So anyway, so the Virgo full moon, releasing the past, whether it's a health routine or health habits. But what we're realizing is the connectivity to the thinking about those things, because the Virgo full moon, the ruler of this full moon is Mercury. That's something I didn't say Mercury, but it is Mercury because I was talking about thinking, right? And anytime we bring up thinking and relating and communicating, it's Mercury, right? So how we think about something is Mercury. So how we think about our health, what we do, right? And it's also, again, hygiene routines, right? And so in the midst of the pandemic, this became very big, right? It was a huge deal. It was all about you need to wash your hands, things need to be sanitized, right? Everybody's wiping everything down. So hygiene routines, just your health habits, right? All these are a big deal. And so there may be things that you're letting go and that you're no longer holding on to. And so it's a completion. It's like, okay, I did that and now I'm done with it because I don't need it any longer. But for many folks, it was just recognizing things that they were taught growing up that worked for them. They carried it into their life as a young adult, but they no longer need it. Like they're past that stage now and they realize it's like they need a new update. Your computer gets an update every couple of days or every night or whatever. It's like it's just old programming and it's just time for some new stuff. And so it could be that for you, right? And for some people, they have this full moon event comes around and they don't even notice it. Like there's nothing different for them. So it all depends on if you have planets at these things. But again, relating all this to Mama Kay and what she's going through, which is something with her health, it's on a full moon. Just keep the mind calm. And so this is the greatest thing I feel I can send is like a blue, like matter of fact, Archangel Gabriel comes in really strongly, Mama Kay. Archangel Gabriel is all about the soothing waters, the emotional waters. That's what I heard. Soothe the waters, soothe the waters. And soothing the waters is important because if we, in a practical way, think about waters, if you're literally like on the ocean, what kind of water? Oops, hold on, folks. Okay, is it if you're on the ocean, right? If there's like choppy waters or if it's stormy, that's difficult. It's rocky and it's hard to get through that. What we want is calm, emotional waters. And so when we can soothe out our emotions, it literally will help us, okay? And I know that's difficult to do. So that is, for me, sending the blue light is a form of releasing the stress and the tension and the anxiety of what you're going through and helping you to try to center and stay in a place of peace, if at all possible, okay? To stay in a place of peace and know that everything's going to be okay, okay? That no matter how things turn out, everything is going to be okay. Now, let me scroll here. Lake George Thrift says, thank you for saying that, G. I'm excited to catch you live, and I'm excited that you are here. I am so excited, Lake George. Lake George, tell me what your ascendant is, because it's been so long. How have you been, actually, Lake George? I haven't seen you in, God, I mean, a long time. Like before COVID, actually, I think. I mean, it's been a while. And I was just having this discussion today. Wow, I'm thinking about this COVID stuff. And yeah, like we're a full year into when we officially began our first lockdowns here in the US. So busy, kind of good and tired. Okay, Charming, got it. Lots of emotional talks with the family. You had that, Charming Lion? Yep. I'm sure you did. Lots of emotional talks with family. Yeah, we had the same here. Things that we decided, some things were epiphanies where it was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that, right? And actually yesterday, family members were coming in strongly yesterday. A mother energy, actually, now that I think about it, came in strongly yesterday. And it was interesting because, well, somebody's mom wasn't real happy with me. Because I think I made a comment about just some things that were done in childhood that not wasn't my childhood, but just anyhow, without going into too much details or breaking any privacy issues here. It was just, parents are people too, and there are no classes that teach you how to parent, right, when you grow up. And so they're winging it as they're going along, right? And they're not perfect. And so, yes, they're bound to make mistakes, right? And that's part of the process. And it's part of the contract as well. And somebody made a really good comment about that under the most recent video, the one about the law of attraction. And they said, my mom always told me when I was a kid not to complain. Stop complaining. You picked me. And so her question, I guess, was, if I picked my mom, that means that like my free will was actually before I was in the human form. So how does that work, right? Well, yes, your greatest amount of free will before the body has to do with setting up the kind of experiences that you're going to be coming into contact with and those individuals that can give you those experiences. This is before you take the body. So I know that's going into a whole nother level of astrology. And anyway, some people may not agree with all that, and that's fine. But it's very interesting because when we talk about degrees of freedom, that's why I use that term, because there's degrees of freedom that we have in the physical body, but there's previous degrees of freedom that our soul has, and that it actually demonstrates, yes, soul contracts, I just saw that pop up, that it demonstrates, prior to, the power that it demonstrates prior to taking the physical form. So it's interesting, very interesting. When I read that, I was like, whoa, okay, there's somebody here who, yeah, it was just exciting to read that. So what else do we have here? If I miss your chat, just re-chat it, like re-comment your comment for me in the chat here, okay? Because I will get to you. Bud says, I have evolved and I have learned, right, Bud? Right, that's how we do it, right? You evolve, you learn, you live. What else can you room? The star room is hitting. Thank you, Bud, for keeping track. You know what? I'm not one of those people where I really want my star room to get like to where I want it to get like gigantically huge. I mean, obviously, the better it does here right now when we're together, the better it will do, because that has everything to do with how the algorithm will suggest it to others. But I'm really cognizant of it getting one day maybe too big. I want it to be done in a way where it's small enough where people feel comfortable to share, where they're comfortable to, because I know when things get really big, people sometimes feel uncomfortable, and this is supposed to be where you can just be yourself, and I also want it to be respectful, and sometimes I think those things get blown out when it gets really big, and so, but yes, let's just keep growing. So Aline, I'm trying something new being here with you folks. Well, Aline, we love you being here. Thank you for being here. King is there, and Mr. Man is loving the attentions the nurses are giving him. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm really happy, Mama Kay. Really happy to read that. So, Aline, I'm going to get back to your comment real quick. I keep cheating because I'm reading comments that are coming off of here. I'm trying something new because usually I'm very closed on my thoughts. Thank you for the invitation, G. Yes, Aline. So I'm really happy to have you here, especially somebody who's really closed on their thoughts. Well, it may persuade you. I don't know. I really honor a person's privacy and their free will. But if you ever, like I said, want me to take a look, if you are someone who if you think like astrology or readings, people getting information that comes through for another, if you have any like hesitation towards that, as in like, okay, is this shit or is it legit type of thing? I understand that because that's how I approached astrology, believe it or not. Like I had all these other excursions and fun, but it wasn't so much that I thought it was crap. I was being stubborn. This is the bottom line. I was being really stubborn. And so I approached it like, okay, well, you have to prove yourself to me. That's how I approached it. I really did. I kept saying, because I didn't really want to spend the time on it. And I had another person, a teacher in my life, who came and said, very clearly right from the get-go, you need to start studying astrology and you need to start doing it seriously. And I kept thinking, this woman is nuts because I have no inclination to go seriously into it because I didn't want to spend the time. I'm going to be honest with you. I really was having a lot of metaphysical fun. I mean, I swear I was. I was having so much fun and I didn't want to get serious. I was just having a good time and I didn't want to get serious about it. And so my approach was, okay, begrudgingly, fine. Then you have to prove yourself. So anytime something happened, I automatically thought, well, I should be able to see this on my chart then. I should be able to see it. And if I can't find it, if I can't see how what happened in my life happened in my chart, if I can't see that, then it's not proving itself to me. Then that means it's crap. So that's how I began this journey for myself. And that doesn't mean that I'm saying you should do it that way, but I do recommend anybody and everybody to approach it with an open mind, but also have a questioning mind. And this is for anything anybody presents to you, any information. So a little bit of skepticism is good, right? Because, it's you don't want to go gung-ho and just believe everything hook, line, and sinker. You really have to kind of go about it your own way. And so I'm sorry, I have to stop and read. Was that the calm that you were speaking about? Okay, I'm going to have to come back to that, Mama Kay. So understanding that everybody's approach is going to be different and everybody learns at a different rate of speed and it's going to come to everybody at a different time. And for me, it really came to me and it said to me, it was when I was working my regular job. I won't go through the whole story again because it's in the last live. If you go and listen to the last live, you'll hear it, but I'll try to give you the cliff notes. I don't know if G knows the meaning of cliff notes, but I had this experience at my job where I ended up working, I was the person who was hiring people. And it turned out that I found out later on, because all I had been checking was birth years. Well, I had found out later on that the entire crew I worked with, they were all Capricorn sun signs, so Capricorn birthdays. Now, I never paid attention to their birth dates, as in birthday. I was only paying attention to their birth years. But when I found out they were all Capricorns, I thought, this is insane. How is this possible? I paid no attention to that. So when I saw that, that was my story of how astrology came to me. And once I saw that, I thought there's something to this and I need to take it a little bit more seriously. It's worth my time. And so that got me digging deeper. And then, well, it started me on this other journey of digging deeper. So I'm grateful, Aline. This is one of my passions, is to have people who don't believe in this sort of thing or who are highly skeptical, not disrespectful, but skeptical, to have them here. That is my greatest passion. I used to, and I would still love to, there's a place, it's actually in Indiana. And Mama Kay, if you're still there, it's in Chesterfield, Indiana. Lady, you're in Anderson, Indiana. And actually, Charming Lion is here tonight. She's also in Anderson, Indiana. And so, Charming Lion, Mama Kay is in Anderson, Indiana. Actually, her name is, I said Mama K. It says Chatting with K, I think is her channel name. Let me double check because well, actually, I don't think she's in the chat anymore. I don't see her here. But yeah, she's also an Anderson. Yeah, Chat with Kay Hamlet. She's also an Anderson, and she talks about it in a way because she's new there, as though it's. I think she refers to it as. What do you refer to it as, Mama Kay? The Witness Protection Program. She would rather be in a big town, basically, and so for her, it's just, yeah, it's a bit of an adjustment. But there's a place, there's a seminary where I spent quite a few years at a seminary there in Chesterfield, Indiana. And there you meet people who are just like me, right? People who are like Subliminal, people who are like Donna, people who are like Charming Lion, people. I mean, and so it's people who are like Bud, where they get information, it comes through, they trust it, they know that there's this universal knowledge that they're tapped into. For some people, it's spirit guides. For some people, it's dead loved ones. So, for some people, they're doing mediumship. Like, so anyway, this location. I was spending a lot of time there, and I'm losing track as to why I even got into this topic. I don't really want to make this about me, but the whole point is that there are places for people like us. Dare I say that? So, Mama Kay, it's really close to where you are. And my hope is that when this whole COVID thing, when it's all cleared up and under control, that I can meet up with you there one day, because that would be wonderful. It's a place where all are welcome, regardless of the denomination. All are welcome, and it gives people guidelines as far as how to deal with the other side. And it's not to say I want you to learn that. No, that's not my desire. My desire is not for anybody to do something that they do not want to do. My desire is to do that which divine implanted in you based on your birth chart, right? That's how I view it. Because when you allow that divine energy to flow through you, that is when you are going to shine in such a magnificent way, because it is that those divine degrees flowing out of you freely. And when they flow out of us freely, people can't help but smile when they see you doing what you're doing. You know what I'm talking about. When you see somebody doing something and it's like just watching them, you can feel it. You're happy because it's like, inside of you, wow, this is what they should be doing, right? And so there's a part of you that connects with that, because you know that exists for all of us, right? There's this unity that we have. And that, relates to this and us all being in the star room. So let me try to catch up in the chat. Lots of emotional talks. We talked about that. I'm trying something new here. Yes. Okay. So yeah, how do you say that, Subliminal? I love patchouli. I think that's how it's pronounced. I can only handle a little tiny bit of that. I know what you're talking about. I've had it, and I have senses where I can smell something and it'll smell good for like maybe 30 seconds if it's really strong. After that, I can't handle it anymore. It just becomes overpowering for me. But everybody's different, totally. Bud keeps shooting me stars. All right, here we go. Donna says, I kind of had a strange childhood with regarding to seeing Native Americans as spirits or visions, maybe when I was very young. Yes, Donna, I totally believe that, Star Sister. Donna and I, we've never met. But even though we've never met, it's just like you with chat with, like, there's a lot of people here. Even though it's subliminal, right? How many of you have I said sister to? And I really do mean it in a way where we're connecting as sisters, because we've never met, but yet when we chat and when we talk, it's like we just understand one another. We're on the same frequency. We get each other. And then we start sharing things like about our past. And then we're like, oh my God, like it's just wild. Like there's things that just line up. I want to make a big quick mention before I go to the next comment. But Donna, I would love to hear more details about your native experience, by the way. I looked this up when, after the last chat, after the last Starry Night Live, somebody had said something, actually Cassie said that she wanted to hear more about the asteroids, okay? Because asteroids aren't really talked about a whole lot. What it will interest some of you to know is that the asteroids that are not discussed a lot are basically a lot of divine feminine energies, right? I know it's interesting. You start doing the research on them and you're like, what? Oh my gosh. So like this is feminine energy coming through, but it's been demoted to like mean nothing and nobody refers to it or talks to it. But what's fascinating, listen to this one. Has anybody heard of Astraea? I see Team Gravely just came up. What's up, Team Gravely? I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for coming through. Give me the thumbs up. You know the drill, Team Gravely. Share it out. Chat it up as much as you can. I will get to you. We're doing star readings. You got a question, something you want to know, whether it's about yourself, whatever. I'm going to share with you whatever comes through because that's just the way it is. But let me know who has heard of Astraea, and I will spell it for you, Astraea. Astraea is an asteroid, okay? Oh, awesome. Donna hasn't heard of it. I'm so thrilled you haven't heard of it, Donna. So hopefully Cassie will watch this replay because what I will do is talk about, I'll pinpoint a new asteroid that you likely haven't heard of so you can find it in your chart. It's a divine feminine energy. And many times we have to look to the ancient ones. We have to look to the knowledge. We have to look to the mythology, to the stories handed down over generations. So the story goes like this. I don't have a big story, first of all, and I'm a horrible storyteller, so just let me preface this with that. But Astraea is known as the last immortal to be among man on earth. The last immortal to be among man, to be among the humans on earth. Astraea has some keywords that I wrote down, and I'm going to share them with you, okay? Astraea's keywords are learning, knowledge, justice, things being fair and balanced, purity, excellence, reason, the ability to reason, and innocence. Astraea is known as represented by the stars. Now, I thought that just blew me out of the water when I looked that up. When I saw that, I could not believe that. Hold on one second. Let me grab something real quick here. Okay, let me grab that. All right, I got this other paper here. So Astraea is known, they say that Astraea belongs to the constellation of Virgo. Now, I found this out immediately after last week's live, which was fascinating because this is, well, the star room, right? Where you are among the stars, where you are a star among the stars. And Astraea is the stars. She represents not just one star, but all the stars. The words are that if you want to get with Astraea, let her starry waters flow over you and soothe you. And that is Astraea. It is a feminine energy that represents excellence and learning and purity and justice and knowledge, innocence, and the ability to reason. That is Astraea. And the story goes that Astraea was basically her father. Now, I understand this is Greek mythology or whatever. Told her, because Earth, the way man was, the way humans were at that time, they had kind of strayed away from being moral, right? They started being all the opposite of all these things. They lacked reason, they lacked excellence, they lacked justice. There was a lot of abuses going on. All this is sounding a little familiar, right? There was no innocence left. There was no purity, right? So there were all these vices, right, that were going on. And so the story is that Astraea then was told, okay, you're no longer going to stay there amongst humans, and you're gonna come up and be among the stars, right? And so Astraea was placed in the constellation and is now part of the constellation of Virgo. That's the story. And there's always got to be a story with something because it just helps the story move along. It helps the understanding. So understand things are metaphorically, right? Realize that I understand that as I'm sharing that story with you, that we use metaphors to teach the greater meanings, okay? And, there are lots of different sacred texts that do the same thing, okay? And we're not going to, go dive deep into that, but the idea is that when we think about this emergence of the star room, of your star room, of you being a star here, present with me among the stars, and Astraea coming up, right? And like this is what I have written down right here, right? This is it. These are the words, and this is so cool because when I was a little girl, yeah, these are just more stars. I've been into stars for a long, long time, but this particular star, ever since I was a little kid, I've been drawing this star, like ever since I was a little kid. And that's why you see that as part of the all astrology symbol. Um, I just, I don't even know how to explain it. You know how you sit down and you just doodle crap, right? And so that, even though I could never draw anything else, that was the one thing I would always draw. And so it just made me feel, I don't know, there was something about that. There was something about this and the definitions of Astraea. So her being this divine feminine energy that is about reason and excellence and being part of the Virgo constellation. And here we are tonight with this Virgo full moon, right? And the reason that this is fascinating as heck, Virgo is about service, serving others that are important to you, servicing people that you love, family members. It's not just, it's not just about health, right? But it's about work routines, daily work routines, habits, work habits. It's about projects that we do. I know, Donna, isn't that interesting? So it's about all these things that we do and tying it all into if you do something, do it well, right? If you do something, do a good job. Because whatever you do, that product of what you did, it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of its maker, right? And so when we think of Astraea and reason, excellence, learning, purity, justice, and knowledge, it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating. And the justice part, things being fair and balanced and just is very fascinating as well because recently when I was doing this research, because a lot of people, a lot of sites didn't have any information for Astraea, I also noticed that there was this foundation that adopted the name Astraea. It was basically like an LGBTQ foundation, and they call themselves, I think, the Astraea Foundation. But I thought it was fascinating because surely they understood the meaning of Astraea, being reason, learning, excellence, purity, justice, knowledge, innocence, and embracing those virtues and saying, this is what we represent. We represent everybody. We represent all those that no other foundation will represent. We represent those that don't have a voice. And I just thought, this is magnificent. So Astraea, yeah, I'm really happy about that, and I just thought this would be something very cool to share with you guys because it totally has everything to do with the Virgo full moon. It has to do with how you serve those that you care about, but Virgos have a tendency to sacrifice, right? There's this as does Pisces energy, because let's be serious here. Pisces and Virgo energy run along the same the same energy line. You've got Pisces over here, and you've got Virgo at the other end. And so they run along that same line of energy, which means if you're a Piscean human being, sometimes you can operate down here as the Pisceans, and then other times you operate here at the Virgo energy. The goal in any energy is to operate right in the middle, right? To strike a balance. That's the big goal, okay? So when I say Virgo energy, it's working, it's details, it's collecting data and information. It's health routines, health habits. It's also domestic pets. So Mama K, I saw your name pop up again. King, right? I got the girls when they come in on the videos. That's Virgo energy, okay? It's domestic pets. So whatever your pets are, whether they are dog or cats or birds or whatever domesticated, furry friend or winged being you've got, they fall into that category of Virgo energy, which is really good to know, because how many of you out there use your pets in a way where your pets come in and they help you? They help you to stay calm. They help you in your healing. They serve you. How many of you can say that about your pets, right? Mama K, right? We know King, he earns his food, right? He literally is your certified service dog, and he is serving you. And isn't that fascinating when we're relating all that together, the word service with the word Virgo? And I brought that up because Virgos have a tendency sometimes to overserve, and they could swing to the opposite side, which is sacrifice, which is the Piscean energy. And so what happens is they serve and serve and serve and sacrifice, and pretty soon they're empty. And they realize, oh my gosh, I've completely spent myself. I'm empty. I have nothing left. And then you can get anger and resentment. And so it's understanding the balance, understanding the balance. And this is important. And so here we are, Virgo full moon, and it's important that we recognize the balance, right? That with our Virgo's ability to serve and to sacrifice, we want to make sure that we are serving and sacrificing for ourselves first and foremost. And yes, that might sound selfish. Some people, especially there are many different schools of thought that teach you got to serve, you got to sacrifice. But never be fooled, people. If you don't take care of you first, there's nothing left of you to be able to serve with, right? If you don't take care of yourself, like you have no energy to help somebody else. You have nothing to give somebody else. So first and foremost, take care of yourself first. Okay, I don't know about most of you in the chat, but I was brought up as a Catholic, and so I've had yeah, all those. I can't even. I'm so glad that I can't remember all the technical terms anymore. But yeah, 12 years of Catholic schooling, and we went to church every Sunday. We had to study the Bible for those 12 years, and of course prior, right? Sunday. You go to church every Sunday, and there's nothing wrong with it, and I'm not knocking it. Actually, I'm very grateful for the education. I'm very grateful for having access to that sacred text. But as an adult now, I am very grateful that I've had close relationships with many folks from other walks of life and other religions, and it's having my access to them, and having access to their sacred text, and them teaching it to me has been wonderful. Study the other religions, people. I would really recommend that. And maybe not so much where you're, every night sitting down doing it, but be open to understanding that typically we all believe the same thing in general, okay? And that the religions break down to, society and culture, the time, the era, right? You think about that. And so this isn't to offend anybody or to say this is wrong or that's right. It's just simply to say that there's a lot of truth in some of the things you read, and to just remember that in the learning process, we pick and choose. We have to think for ourselves. And so Virgo, again, the ability to sacrifice and to go too far and to not take care of self. And so I brought up the whole Catholic and reading the Bible and all that, because it was always pounded into our brains to sacrifice, to sacrifice. You should be fine with going without. And it was not until I was a young adult, because I already have a strong inclination to sacrifice. It wasn't until I was a young adult where I realized, oh my God, I'm like way overgiving. I am way doing, there's nothing left of me. I've given and I'm empty. And now that I'm empty and I've got nothing left to give or nothing for myself, I'm bitter, I'm angry, I'm resentful, right? Like, yeah, been there, done that, completed that, got all the t-shirts and all the colors, and I'm not doing that again. Now I understand that when I take care of me first, I can not only give to others, but the quality of what I have to give is so much greater. Okay, I feel like I'm babbling about myself. So let me get off of that and try to get back to the comments here. So, charming, yes, 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 awesome. Okay, let me try to catch up. Okay, got you there. Emotional talks about family as expected. I'm trying to very close. Okay, I already read that one. Oh, Tina, I said your name. I hope you're not upset with me. I know Charming Lion. So she said, I'm sewing late. I'm not in gear until afternoon. Okay, great to be self-employed, right? Not that I'm actually self-employed. I haven't received a paycheck just yet. So we got buds, but yes, peace and illusion, Pisces and illusion. Yes, Donna, Pisces and illusion. That's the thing, right? Think about this. I talked about Virgo energy being over here. It's about the details. And then the opposite of Virgo was Pisces. And oh, thank you, Tina, because I just realized I just broke all the damn rules. So we got Virgo over here, okay, which is the details, keeping track of the details. We got Pisces over here, which is the opposite. No details. Like the details disappear in Pisces, right? So it's illusions, right? It's like, well, I don't see the details, so I'll just make something up. That's Pisces energy. Just make up a story. And while that is wonderful if you are a creator, if you are a writer, screenplay, movies, music, see, that's what that energy is supposed to be used for in a creative form. Take that illusion and the delusions and put it towards a creative project and channel that way. But recognizing when we're having those, elusive, those delusional moments, use it for art, right? Like paint, do something super creative with it. And that's really what we want to do with that Piscean energy. Pisces is just a feel-good, beautiful, watery, elusive. It's all about, sound and film and fantasy and dreams and sleep. So for everybody listening, if you don't know this, the sun is in Pisces right now, okay? The sun has been in Pisces. And really quickly, I'm gonna look at all right, we at the sun in Pisces. And so it's roughly like at 10 degrees right now. And so the sun being in Pisces, the sun is your vibrancy. It is your energy. It is your fuel for your physical body. It's your light. It's your ability to express, your ability to be intellectual. It's your ability to use your free will. It's your willpower. That's your sun. Now, being in the sign of Pisces, the sun's in Pisces right now, you may notice you might not have as much energy right now. You also may notice that if you're taking anything to help you sleep at night, or if you're using any sort of substances for whatever reason, you may feel that you don't need as much, okay? Because that's what happens when the sun goes into Pisces, okay? It also has to do with where's Mars at, what's Mars doing, what kind of a relationship. Like Mars right now is in Taurus at the latter degrees. Mars is like, 27, 28 degrees of Taurus roughly. So Mars is pretty strong there, but Mars is going to move, folks, okay? We're going to see Mars in the sign of Gemini soon. And so please don't let me end this live tonight without talking about some of the significant things we're going to want to know in advance about Mars going into Gemini, because it's going to change some things, okay? It's going to change how our body is because it's Mars and Gemini. Our Mars is your body. So anytime Mars changes into a new sign, it takes on the qualities, traits, and characteristics of that new sign. And so because Mars is our body, it's literally your physical body. It will change the way you act. It will change the way it's your energy level, right? It has everything to do with how spontaneous you are, how rigid you may be in your actions, or how flexible you can be. Or anyway, we'll go into a little bit more depth about that once I get further on through these comments. There's a specific piece of paper that had all this information, and I left it out, but I did bring in the eclipses for 2021 for you guys to give you the dates for the eclipses. I brought that in the room. There are some fascinating things. One of the other things in the last live that I have to mention real quick here was that some people had mentioned also talk about Pluto a little bit. And so after I saw that, I went ahead and I dove deep into the United States chart and Pluto. And what I'll tell you right here tonight, after what I looked at, and I took a deep dive, is I'll give out the dates when we can expect. I will also, a little bit later, I will give you, there are 3 dates I have written down for when we have significant Pluto events for the United States, okay? But Pluto, remember, is changes that are at the foundational level of our country, basically. And so if you don't live in the U.S., we all know that what happens in the U.S. will affect, it has repercussions around the world, okay? And that's just the way that it works. So knowing these kind of things in advance just helps you to prepare, okay? Prepare mentally. You might not be able to do anything else, but at least you could mentally prepare and say, okay, I have to be ready to, that things are going to be changing. And so if my mind can get wrapped around being flexible and being prepared for things to change and knowing Pluto is not bad energy, okay? Pluto represents your soul's energy, okay? Pluto is your soul's strength. Pluto is when you get through those things in your life that you physically thought there's no way you could have ever survived. And looking back on it, you have no idea how you survived. It's your Pluto power that got you through. It's your soul's power that came through, that stood out, that overrode your physical being and carried you through the rest of the way. Now, this isn't taking away this, the power of the divine, okay? Because I welcome all to come here regardless of what your religion is or is not. So if you believe in that thing, if you believe in Allah, God, whatever your, creator, whatever word you have for divine for you, understanding that is also part of this as well. But each individual has this other divine power that is from the divine that comes through them, and it's your cellular power, okay? Because that is a degree, that is a spark, that is a piece of that divine power as well. We hold that within us, okay? So let me back up a little bit here and get to Pisces. Okay, okay. So true. Okay. All right. Hello. Keep going. Yep. Coin collecting with Tyler. Are you still in the house? Coin collecting with Tyler. Where have you been? I haven't seen you. Yes. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Tyler says, Coin collecting with Tyler says, Tyler is a Leo. Well, what's up, Coin collecting Tyler? You are a Leo. So you have ease of expressing who you are, confidence in being who you are. That's wonderful. That is so awesome. And Tyler, Leo energy is all about being very creative and being able to be in the spotlight and to shine being in that spotlight and expressing and creating in a really unique way. And Tyler, you're pretty young. I know when I first came upon your channel, I was highly impressed because you're such a young person. You're such a young being, and you are very well spoken. You are you're very clear in the ways that you express and just everything you do on your channel. And boy, you can talk fast too. You can talk really fast. I'm very impressed by you. So Leo energy and being online and doing this, I don't have your chart in front of me, but Tyler, I can tell you this much because this came through for you, and and the energy for you, Tyler. Keep doing what you're doing, even if it's not coins. Although you have a clear passion for coins, and your passion is felt definitely, but keep doing what you're doing. I think you are going to have what's coming through is anything that involves this for you, okay? So whether it's YouTube, whatever platform it is for you, you're going to have success with it. I would recommend that you keep working it and keep doing it. I see great success for you, Tyler. Great success. You're doing something that you're passionate about. And people love when somebody has found that thing and they're able to communicate about it, they're able to share it and talk about it. It comes through so strongly, and there's this authenticity that comes through, and that's really important. And so, Tyler, stick with what you're doing, buddy. It's not to say that you can't use it as a springboard for other things, because that's also coming through, that as you grow, right, because you're pretty young, it's going to be used as a springboard to go and to take you and to explore and experiment with other things that you might not have thought you'd be interested in. So that's for you, Tyler. Yes, Tyler. Okay, Bud's backyard. Bud, I don't see your open can of beer on here. And I know right now, Bud, you are sitting there with a can of open beer. So I forgot to say this at the beginning. For all those who are here, sit back or get up, go get your beverage, your hot chocolate, go get your, whatever it is, your tea, your whatever it is you prefer to drink. I know Bud's is a cold one. Matter of fact, let me know what it is. What is your preferred drink so that I can at least mention that next time when we do the lives. I want everyone to be comfortable. Get your little snacks. Do whatever you got to do. Be comfortable. So Bud said, my childhood is strained. Yeah, Bud, I understand. I come into a lot of contact. I come into contact with a lot of folks like that because the way energy works, like however your energy is, that's who you attract to you. That's just how it is. That's just the natural law of the universe. And so typically the people I come into contact with, well, because that was my past as well, that's going to be a big common denominator for many of us. It doesn't mean it has to be cut and dried that way. There may be other things that there are similarities with, but I could totally understand, Bud. Totally. Subliminal radio, I have been physically fit my whole life until 5 years ago when Dad died. Oh, subliminal. I am so sorry to hear that. So you said you were your whole life. And subliminal, I started talking to you at the beginning of this about your chart because you are a Capricorn ascendant. Yeah, and Capricorn on the ascendant, and you're relating it to the death of your father. This could be that connection because the power of the mind is very powerful. It's interesting because I'm going to connect this astrologically for people that are listening. The sign of Capricorn, its ruler is Saturn, okay, the planet Saturn. And in a person's chart, Saturn represents your father. And it doesn't have to just be somebody's father, but the authority in someone's life. So for some folks, they never had a dad, their mom was their authority figure. So it represents the authority figure in a person's life. And the fact that your father died 5 years ago, and then you're connecting the dots that your health changed after that is really interesting. Really interesting. I didn't go deeper in your chart to see, to look at those things, to look at the transits of your past and your future. But just you sharing that your dad, which ruled your ascendant, which ruled your physical body, when he passed, that affected you physically. That makes a lot of sense because the sign of Saturn represents restrictions, okay? It's Saturn isn't just the authority figure, but it's the one who sets the rules in place, right? And doesn't that what our parents do? The authority figures. You go to school, your teacher is your authority figure. They tell you what you can and can't do. They say these are the rules and these rules need to be adhered to, right? And so Saturn is typically about, I have these rules and these rules are set up because we need to have a system in place. If we don't have a system in place, we can't reach our goal, right? It's impossible. It can't be all helter-skelter. And so that's why Saturn puts those rules in place. It's not to be mean, it's not because it loves to punish. It's because it wants to establish a sense of order, right? And there's Sheila. Sheila is a Capricorn sun sign, right, Sheila? So you understand about setting goals and accomplishing those goals by piecemeal to accomplish the big goal that you got at the top, whatever that big goal may be for you. So, yeah, that's really, really fascinating, subliminal. And again, 5 years ago isn't that long ago. And my condolences on your loss. Let's see here. Okay, so Aline says, I'm confused because my second house starts at Aquarius. Last degree of Aquarius, I'm assuming, if I'm reading this right. Sometimes the chat, I know, sometimes the words don't get conveyed to be what you're saying, but so I always try to look for clarity. So I'm confused because my second house starts at Aquarius, but it's the last degree of Aquarius. So basically it says 29 degrees of Aquarius on the cusp of your second house line. Cusp meaning the beginning of the house. I know, it's confusing. And the eighth house at the last degree, well, that would be correct. That's not confusing, that's correct. So Aline, in the beginning of this chat, you said that you had Virgo and Pisces energy on your second and your eighth houses, and you're finding out when you've looked at your chart that you actually have Aquarius on your second house. Well, right there, let's just not go any further, okay? Because it's going to get confusing, and we don't want this to be confusing. You're new, right? You're just starting off, and everybody listening some of people don't know anything. But what we're going to talk about is Aquarius energy. You only have it at 29 degrees on your second house cusp line, okay? So which means you have all this stuff in Aquarius right now going through your first house. And this is important because we have Saturn in Aquarius right now. We have Jupiter in Aquarius right now. We have Mercury in Aquarius right now. So this is you, Mercury in Aquarius, in your first house. Your first house represents you, who you are. If Mercury is there, Here you are digging, that's Mercury, digging for the details, finding out information about yourself, right? You've got Saturn, you've got Jupiter, and you've got Mercury all in your first house right now. And you are finding out about yourself. And it makes perfect sense on paper. Perfect sense on paper. So after that Aquarian energy, though, I know it's confusing because you're looking at a tropical Placidus house system when just by what you've described to me. So what that means is after Aquarius, right? Aquarius ends, the rest of your second house fills up with Pisces energy, okay? So now Pisces in your second house, right? It's confusing when you have a little bit of another energy. And all that means for people listening, because Donna, I know you always talk about this, there's a mixture of energies. Classy Cookery, I see you this time. I'm sorry, sis. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the thumbs up. Share this out and keep chatting away. Chat as many times as you can. Contribute to the chat because that helps the live. The algorithm counts how many times you guys chatted to me. Can you believe that crap? It literally will count it. It will say, depending upon how many times the people who were watching commented, has everything to do with how interesting it was. And so anyway, they're counting, not me. So yeah, just chat the way, even if you're doing what Bud is doing and showing me a beer. I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't care. But I do look forward from hearing from each and every single one of you, trust me. So if you haven't been here before, come on in. Come on into the star room. Sit among the stars. You are a star. Come on in. My name is G. For anybody that's new, that's just joining us, come on in, sit down, grab your drink, get comfortable. We are here talking about the energies, talking about our own lives, talking about what we're going through. We've got a person right now live in the chat who is in the emergency room as we're speaking. And I have to read her chat real quick here so I know what's going on. I am in the ER right now. Gotcha, sis. You are in the ER. Don't worry about it. Chat with Kay. I don't expect you to be blowing up my chat, okay, sis? I don't expect that from you. But I appreciate you giving us updates. They found more blood clots. Gotcha. They found more blood clots in both of them. Yes. So for anybody, for anybody who knows Mama Kay, that's Chat with Kay. She's in the emergency room right now. And we've already sent up prayers for her, but continue to send up peaceful energy to her so that they can easily the professionals can do what they need to do to get her on a speedy road to recovery. But a road to recovery that's perfect for her. That's important. A road of recovery that's perfect for her, that she heals and recovers in a perfect time and place and space that's conducive for that person. Okay, that's what we want. And so we send healing and supportive, peaceful energy to her mind to keep her calm, and so that she's in a good place where she is surrounded by angel wings and she is supported. Her husband is with her, keeping her calm. She has professionals who know what they're doing, who are able to get to the details, and that is exceptionally connected to what's going on with this Virgo energy right now. It's all about highlighting the details, right? That's what the Virgo energy full moon is. It's seeing things you didn't see before. And so Mama Kay, I know it's not, this is like the last thing you want to hear about, another thing you have to go to the hospital for, but it's a good thing because they're finding the blood clots. They are finding them and they are going to take care of this, okay? And so having this happen on the Virgo full moon, it makes sense, and you're with professionals, okay? And so I'm very happy that you're with professionals, that you're in good care. Okay, so let me try to get back here. Okay, so Aline, I was started to talk about Pisces in your second house. So again, you heard me what I said earlier about having Pisces energy in the second house. In case you missed it, you might have went away to look at your chart. Piscean energy in the second house means that when you are trying to, because Piscean energy is elusive, okay? So you might have a hard time finding what it is that you are passionate about or what you desire. Typically, the Piscean energy is you're going to desire, like, you're going to like fantasy and sleep and dreams and movie. You're going to value all the Piscean things. So spirituality would be in there, Christ consciousness, connecting to the other side, talking, like that's all Piscean energy. Dreams, fantasy, talking to dead loved ones, maybe spirit guides. Like you may have interest in these things. These may hold your value. And so it's difficult because you've got that elusive Piscean energy in the house where it's supposed to be about, okay, well, how do I make my money? How do I get my incoming money coming in, right? So there could be a time in your life where that escaped you, where you were like, okay, I don't know what I value, or I don't know how to have an income. I don't know what I can do. I don't know what my values are, right? Because that's the second house, values. And so if that is the case for you, this is normal. It's not a downfall. It's just that your values are going to be different than a lot of other people's values, right? They're just going to be different. Now, I can share here in the chat that we have somebody in the chat tonight. We have Subliminal Radio. Now, Subliminal, I believe in your chart, I don't have it in front of me right at this moment, but if I were to click over real quick, which I think I can do here because I have some software working for me, which is really nice. I can click over to that real quick and find out for you. I can find out for you that I'm almost positive that you have Piscean energy. Let me see where your Piscean energy is at for you. Oh, wow. See, remember the difficulty I was having that other time? I think I'm having it again. Oh, wait, it's working. Thank God it's working. It's working. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me pull that up for you, Subliminal. Now, the reason I'm pulling up Subliminal's chart, folks, just so that you know, is because she submitted her information last week. And that's what you want to do right now. You want to submit your birth digits, all right? Which is your birth time, birth date, birth city, birth state. All that is needed. If you want me to look at a chart that doesn't have a birth time, I can do that. But the degrees of accuracy are less without a birth time, okay? Because then I'm just pulling up a general chart, which will give me, it won't give me your ascendant. And your ascendant tells me about the timing of cycles in your life. And that has everything to do with telling you, hey, you got this coming down the road, or hey, you know. So just understand that, okay? But it's a good starting point. Even if you don't have your birth time, it's a good starting point because I can tell you I can tell you a couple of major other things in your chart that will help you to start on the road to understanding more about yourself. So for Subliminal, yeah, I was right. You do have some Piscean energy in your second house, Subliminal, okay? Your second house of values, Subliminal, is half filled with Aquarius energy, which is group energy, which is air energy. It's fixed air, all right? So having fixed thinking about certain things. But what's beautiful about you, Subliminal, is that the other half of your second house is filled up with Piscean energy. So it would be very easy for you to combine the fixed thinking and raising it up to how do I do it in a spiritual way? How do I do it to relate to a way of service to mankind? Because that Aquarian energy is about serving, is about, but serving group. Okay, I apparently was not live for a second there, so I hope you guys are still with me. So Subliminal, I'm going to repeat what I just said. When I'm not live, I have no idea I'm not live. It does, you know, apparently I was not live. I didn't know I wasn't live until you guys just came back, until I came back online. So for Subliminal, you've got half of your second house filled up with half Aquarius energy and half Piscean energy. So what that means for you is Aquarian energy is all about the group, okay? It's your fixed thoughts and communication with the group. It's air, right? And it filled up with your Piscean energy. That Piscean energy is Christ consciousness. It's connecting to deity. It's talking to, you know, whether it's spirit guides or dead loved ones, or talking to God even, right? Talking to source, but combining that because you have equal amounts. So you can do that for groups, right? Your channel, Subliminal Radio, has what you're doing on that platform is you're doing exactly this. You're combining something that is spiritual, that's combined with intuition, that's combined with doing something that is good for the group, doing something that is good for the highest for all, and you know, the highest for all, the best and for the all involved. And it's using the Aquarian energy, which means it's the internet. And that's what Aquarius is. By the way, Aquarius is also astrology. I don't know if you knew that, Subliminal. But it's fascinating because it's in your second house. So these are the things you value. This is what your values are on. All right. So you're doing it, subliminal. You are doing it. And that lines up with your sixth house of money. And it lines up with your 10th house, your midheaven of career and working with people in significant one-on-one relationships too, it says too. And so that's fascinating because things being fair and balanced is very important for you. That's at your midheaven. So your moon, by the way, subliminal, now that I have this here, and I promised I would find this out for you, you have a moon, and your moon is in Gemini, okay? So I'm excited about that for you, subliminal. So you have a Gemini moon, you have a Capricorn ascendant, and you have your Pisces sun. You already knew, hold on a minute, folks, I'm still here. You already knew about your Pisces sun, right? But what you didn't know was you didn't know you had a Capricorn ascendant. And that Capricorn ascendant I mentioned means that you can physically have a very strong body, right? And then you mentioned that once your dad passed 5 years ago, your body, you weren't in the gym as much as often. So remember, the hard and the, Capricorn energy is the hard structures of the physical body. So I mentioned the teeth. I mentioned bones in the body. I mentioned the knees. It's also your spine. I don't know if I mentioned that. So some people, back issues, the spine. And so just keep that in mind and realizing that, whatever whatever slowed you down, right? Dad's passing, of course, that's a huge deal. Slows you down. I would have to take a deeper dive to see if that's something that you're like, wow, I don't know, am I ever going to get back in the gym, right? Or am I ever going to get back at the gym in the way that I was, right? Am I going to be able to do that again? Am I ever going to get back to that level of fitness? I would have to just take another look and to take a deeper dive to see if that was possible for you. And again, I'm not saying it's not. All I'm saying is I didn't spend the time to see that specific question. But having that Gemini moon and me being excited for you is because that totally assists what you're doing already. It assists you being on a platform that has to do with social media, because that's what Gemini is. It's social media. It's my digital neighbors. But what you have to remember, okay, I want you to keep this in mind, is that your biggest success will be when you are within the group energy, but you're able to connect one-on-one in the group. You know, the way we have been able to do. You may find that if you start doing that with more people, you're going to see growth, okay? I would highly recommend that because that is showing, that's going to be a big deal for you. And I can tell you that you recently had, some great success because the transiting North Node up in the sky lined up with your natal North Node. You are coming off of a North Node return, and your North Node is all about your soul's goals. It's all about you achieving something that you weren't necessarily comfortable with achieving, right? It was something you may not even known that you had the capability of doing, okay? It was like a hidden, we'll say it was like a hidden agenda of your soul. And so it's more like something that's buried down deep and you don't even know you have a skill set for it. But because you have a moon in Gemini and your North Node is also in Gemini, you had help. That's what that means. You had help. So what does Gemini like to do? It likes to talk. And so I'm asking you guys to do this. For those that can do it, Mama K, I'm not talking about you. You can just listen and we'll be fine with that. But for those who can do this, this is Gemini. This is go ahead and load my chat up with all the comments you possibly can, right? Because Gemini is talking, speaking with the hands. That's sign language. Look at everybody. Look at everybody respond. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. Excellent. That's perfect. That's Cherry's dishes, classy cookery. Classy. Did I say hi? I think I did. But Cherry, thank you for showing up. I'm so glad that you could be here. Let me move along now. So subliminal, hopefully you understood everything I said. And if there's anything that I covered that didn't make sense, just comment to me and I can expand upon it a little bit more for you. Because I might have sounded mumbo-jumboed. But, and Aline, hopefully that Pisces energy in your second house made sense. So yeah, you have your moon happening, your full moon just happened in your 8th house, that means. And so Aline, it's fascinating that you're here because if you have the moon in the 8th house, right? We just had a full moon in Virgo happened in your 8th house. The 8th house, Donna, what's the 8th house? Tell me what the 8th house is. Who else can I ask that question to and who's going to give me an answer? Tina, if you're still here, if you're able to do this, What does the eighth house represent? Bud, you know astrology. Chime in. What is the eighth house about? Help me out. Help me answer some of these little indicators for people. The eighth house, I'll chime in. The eighth house, right? Hidden, the occult. It can be death, right? But for a lot of people, they think it means physical death. It doesn't have to be death of your body. It can mean death of an old way. It can mean, you know, I used to, like me, I can use myself as a perfect, and I'm sorry I'm doing this. I've, kind of made a promise I wasn't going to talk about myself, but there are many times in my life where I completely do this complete retransformation. All of a sudden, like people look and they don't recognize who I am. Like I look different. I all of a sudden come onto the scene where I have different values. Right? You die to old ways, so to speak. I mean, it can be because Pluto. When we talk about physical death, Pluto usually is always involved in that. And yes, Pluto rules the eighth house. So Donna, you're right on the money with that. And there might have been some other answers, but on my phone, like as I'm doing the streaming, certain chats, they come up really fast. And so some of yours is just pop up really quickly in my eye. So please don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm going to go back to this chat here and get the answers. But there's the eighth house also is how we bond with people. Okay. But it's bonding in a way where you could be bonded by money. You could be bonded by blood. Okay. So it could be people that you're related to, but emotionally bonded as well. Deep bonds, emotional bonds. So it could be people you're in a relationship because you've had physical bonding or because you've had emotional, like you've had events happen in your life where you shared an experience of some sort. And it would likely be a very deep experience because it's it's the eighth house. It's deep. Okay. And the eighth house and the depth that the eighth house goes to, it can go to past life connections. So, who was this again? I'm sorry. Aline in Brazil. Having the Virgo energy in your eighth house. Aline, it's really good possibility that here tonight in the chat or with me, maybe we've had past life connections, right? Or maybe if you don't like the word past life, maybe we have family that goes way back where there's connection. We might be related in a way we don't even know it, right? And it may not just be me personally, but this is your first time here tonight, and it's fascinating to me that you've got, this full moon was happening in your eighth house. And so recognizing and connecting with your family heritage, that's what I was talking about at the beginning of this. And then just having that understanding, and sometimes we just make a mental release. It doesn't even have to necessarily be that we let go of people. I know here, like, yeah, there was some of that, like letting go of, things that our parents taught us that no longer serve us anymore, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of that. And so, Elim, hopefully I helped give you a little bit of understanding about your eighth house. And so if there are people that you had relationships with and understanding, you're probably likely, this is a healing for you in a big way, Elaine. Okay, having this here. If you don't have any other planets, there might not be any planets in your eighth house. And if there's not, then what I'm talking about may seem a little foggy or vague to you. Okay, but if you have planets in your eighth house, what I'm talking about, it's going to resonate with you. You're going to be like, oh, okay, how do you know that, right? It's not me. It's the story that your chart tells. Okay, it reveals, it speaks, and that's what that speaks to me. That's what it tells me. So, let me see. Let me try to catch up here on your comments. Yes, have comments amongst yourselves. Meet each other. That's wonderful. Donna and Charming Lion. Oh my God, yes. You two need to talk. You are some of the oldest souls that I've come into contact with. You two need to talk. Let me see. Subliminal. Yes, yes, yes. I have a feeling that my chat went backwards. And so now I'm really trying to catch up with you guys. Alrighty. Yes, my chat went completely backwards. So bear with me here. All right. Let me see here. Okay. Got that. Got that. Okay. It just keeps moving automatically on its own. I'm getting lots of hearts from Donna, or she's sending them to somebody, so I'm loving that. And Cherry, there you are, Cherry. She said, I'm present. Cherry, you got a question? Ask away, sis. Yes, hidden, the occult, and death, right? And also keep in mind the eighth house. I mentioned about bonding, but it's how you share your energy. Okay, it's how you and another person. So for some people, it's money, right? But it doesn't have to be just money. But yes, money is energy. So how you share your energy. A lot of people call this. They look at the eighth house and they say, "Oh, it's the house of sex," right? Because when you're physically intimate with somebody, you're sharing energy. But it doesn't have to be limited to that. A lot of people use that very same energy to create in a big, big way. So you get to choose. You have free will. You get to choose how you use this energy. All right. Transformations, the eighth house. Yes, the eighth house is all about deep transformations and changes, right? Deep changes. We experience something, we have to go through the change. Sometimes we go through a transfiguration. We literally look different, right? I know some years back, when was it? 2000 and I can't remember the exact year. I think it was like 2010 or 11. I can't remember, but my hair used to be down to the middle of my back, actually, believe it or not. And I just got to a stage in my life where I realized I have to chop my hair. I even actually at one time was like, I'm going to shave my head, believe it or not. And that was a huge change. That's a Pluto thing. It's like, okay, you went through a change. And it wasn't that I went through something bad. It was more of a change I went through here where I felt like I just had this strong urge that I needed to no longer hold on to the material world in the sense where appearances meant so much. And so my way of expressing that was me saying, I'm willing to go bald and I'm just going to shave my head. And, well, my, not me, but my hairdresser or my stylist, she was in tears. She was like, no, you can't do that. We can only do a little bit at a time. And I was glad she did it because I liked having the really short hair. But yeah, that was a transformation. But it was a change here. It wasn't necessarily that I had gone through, something like I didn't have a divorce necessarily. Although the previous few years, yeah, I had a breakup. And then people who, my goddaughters who lived with me, who I helped raise, had moved, they not only, I was no longer not living with them, I had my own place, but they were literally moving out of state. So there was a lot of changes, and then I made some changes at work too. Yeah, actually, I had multiple changes happening in my life, come to think of it. But this was like a delayed reaction because it was a couple of years after it happened. And so we're all different. That's the whole point. We experience it differently, we go through it differently, and that's just how it works. So death, right? It can be a physical death, but not necessarily. And so transformation, yes, a good description. The So Aline, I would like to hear from you because you are new to this. You are new to not only just the star room, but actually for being new to astrology, you did a good job telling me about your chart. You did a very good job. You were able to recognize the signs, which is a big deal. You knew what the Aquarius sign looked like and what the Leo sign looked like, and that's a big deal. I know you might be like, well, gosh, I don't really know anything, but just memorizing what those signs look like, right? Being able to see a sign, right? Whether that's the sign of Capricorn, and then being to recognize its symbol and write the word under it, Capricorn. That's step one. That would be step one. If you don't know that, start doing that. That's step one. The last live we did, someone said, can we learn how to keep an astrological journal, right? And so we can do that. But my first recommendation, because when you write an astrological journal, teaching it, that's the first thing I'm going to say. I am going to say, I want you to write down the sign of Mars. I want you to write down the sign of Venus. But I want you to write the symbol down. So I will have you write the symbol and the word below it, okay? And so I want you to be able to do that for all the planets that we're going to have discussions about. And so that would be step one for an astrological journal for anybody out there that's interested in that. And I can walk you through that, and we can constantly, every Saturday, go over it and tweak it and work on it. It's a work in process, and so I would love other people to share what they do. And so Tina, Charming Lion, and yeah, even Subliminal, definitely. Even though you say you're new to astrology, I think it's something you could pick up on very quickly, subliminal, because you have that Aquarian energy in your second house. You have a lot of it, and you also have the Piscean energy there. So the Piscean energy will give you the ability to understand abstract knowledge, and that's a big deal. Okay, I mean that's what movies are. That's what it's thinking outside the box, and you have that as well because the Aquarian energy gives you that. So I'm loving that for you. So Aline, understanding the symbols, recognize them, is a very big deal. Yes, Gemini energy is this, right? It's this, right? So chat it up, add some chats here. We're gonna, let's see, what else do I have here? I only have, oh my gosh, Aline, how do you know about Astraea? What the hell? What the hell? You're freaking me out here. So, Charming Lines throwing on some more hearts. Thank you. Love it. Keep it coming. Aline, I only have Astraea in Virgo in the 8th house, past life connections. Well, that's awesome, Aline. How you have a chart that printed Astraea. I'm extremely impressed. I would love to know how you're getting this to come up. Maybe you said you're from Brazil, right? Like, I'm wondering, is this somebody I know actually? Because nobody knows about Astraea, yet you do. This is crazy. You've got it, pulling it up in your chart. Do you see this, folks? She's got Astraea in her 8th house. So I mean, are you pulling my leg, Aline? I really want to know, are you pulling my leg? Is this for real? I want to see this. I really want to see this. I want to see your chart now. Now I want to see, do you really have Astraea in your 8th house? That's amazing, because what did we talk about Astraea like? And so this is past life connections. So you're connecting in with all the other stars. And where are you? You're in the star room, right? I'm going to start changing this from the star room. I might just change this to, what should I change the room to? Like, it's not a room. It can't be a room. A room can't contain stars, right? This is the cosmos we're in, right? This is the universe. Aline, you're blowing my mind away here. I want more information from you, so you know. So, Charming Lion, you're hilarious. Charming Lion is owning up to her Gemini energy. She's claiming it, and she is saying, because of her Gemini energy, my daughters used to go crazy when I would go out in public because they would get stuck listening to me talk to everybody. Because Geminis tend to do this, right? They're constantly talking. That's so funny. And Donna is saying that she has a daughter who's in Cancer. Well, this is a really good example, Donna. God, just reading your two's chat can teach us a lot about astrology right here. Amazing. So Donna says, my daughter is a Cancer sun, and she clams up. Interesting, isn't it? Because for her, Cancers are very sensitive. Cancers are very sensitive. They're more withdrawn. They're not going to be outgoing. And for them, if they're going to do anything like that, it's going to be at home around family, because that's what Cancer represents. So, there's probably some other things there, because typically the sign of Cancer, not only does it represent my immediate family and at home, but it can also represent being out in the public being your family. So that depends on your daughter's chart. But if you're telling us that she clams up, that's interesting. I would like to see if something angles her sun in a way, squares it, where it makes it difficult for her to talk to people, makes it difficult for her to talk to the public. Donna, does she have a hard time talking to you or dad, or like a sibling in the family? Because likely that's going to be the case, not just because she's in public. If she has something angling her sun, remember, our sun is our ability to express, to talk, right? It's the ability to show people who we are, and we do that when we express, right? And so I would really like to know, and that would make more sense to me. So yeah. So Charming Lion, yeah, she's saying, when I was first learning science, I would just rewrite them over and over. And you know what? Just like children do when they are learning the letters and writing the alphabet, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't even need to be that you need to be rewriting it over. When we teach children cursive or how to print, we are having them write the words out. You can rewrite them out completely, or you can just trace over the same thing, right? So, whatever is good for you. But for me personally, I'm a person where in my mind, Many times when I hear, sometimes, sometimes I see it in text first. My mind is very literal. It, when I was young, I read like a lot, like a sick amount. And so my process of learning was not abstract at all. It was more, it was very literal. It was like, okay, I need to see it in front of me. I need to see the text. And that's how I learned. So for me, I would actually draw the astrological sign and then writing the name of it under it helped me as well. I know I already said that, but everybody's different. So I'm just kind of, I guess, chiming in about, again, how I was different. So Aline says, because you said so, I just checked it out. Wow. Okay. Well, you're pretty savvy with working the website. What website? Where are you? What software are you using? Are you using an app? I would love to know the name of it, because I have others who are either listening. I have people who've been on this channel, who've been here with us for a while, who, they don't know how to find Astraea, they don't know how to pull it up. Like, they have difficulty with that. So I'm just curious. That means to me that you're using something that's really user friendly, and so others may benefit from it. Because I think it's just so cool that you have that and that you were able to do that, and that's really wild. That it's almost as though you're confirming what I was saying earlier, and that's just freaky. So anyhow, let's move along. But thank you, Aline, for your input. Keep inputting. I'm loving it. The charming okay, when my oldest used to put her hand up when I talked too much. That was smart. She would give you signals, right? Your oldest used to put their hand up. That is hilarious. She would signal you that you talked too much, and you would get a blunt okay from the youngest. Okay, Aline, well, the fact that you've heard about Astraea tonight and that you looked it up, does it make sense for you? Does it help you to understand that eighth house and the way you could possibly be connecting with people that that your personality may not have a connection to, may not have a bond to, but these can very well be people that you have soulful connections to. Because if you're here, we're talking about Astraea, and we're in the star room, and this is Astraea's room, basically, the stars. And it's in Virgo, on the Virgo full moon, and you're telling me that that's in your eighth house. That's amazing. That is a great demonstration of astrology, and this is astrology's way of coming to you. Okay, so we got an update on Mama Kay. She said they are giving me some pain meds, so I'm going to say goodnight. They said it's strong. Okay, I got you, Mama Kay. So you're going to stay the night and be observed, and that's probably a really good thing. We'll definitely send up more prayers for you, Mama Kay. Thank you for giving us the update. And remember what we talked about when you end this live. Okay, remember what we talk about when you end this live. Okay, so I will need clarification on that because I'm already lost, but I see that. Okay. Mama Kay is saying good night, everybody. Good night, Mama Kay. We are with you. We are saying prayers for you. And I am glad that you were in a place. And know this, Mama Kay, the fact that just understanding what's going on with the energies right now, this is a good thing because it's other things coming to light, details that they weren't seeing before and that they are seeing now. And so I'm happy you're with professionals. I think it's a good thing. Okay, so Tina, I love when you share about your children, how they beg you to. It's so funny. Okay. So what is Donna? She does have an Aries rising. She talks a lot now. Okay. She talks a lot now to her students online. She has a tough time talking to her dad, but easily to me. Her dad and her are actually a lot alike. Oh, that's interesting. But you don't tell them that though, do you? It's one of those things where they don't want to see the similarities in each other. And matter of fact, it's probably the similarities in each other. The things they don't like about themselves, they see in the other person. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, sis. That is so funny. Yeah, my daughters and I communicate in our own ways. Oh, yeah. Well, that's good. That's actually a really good system you have there. Because Chat with Kay, who just signed off and said she has a lot of, on her channel, she has a lot of uploads of some very trying times that she went through as a younger person, as a younger female, whether it was with dating. Anyway, she was in a domestic violence situation. And she talked a lot in that video about how having people in your life who knew what you were going through and who knew, she talked about having a system, a line of communication. It was kind of like code that you could use with each other. So I would recommend for anybody who has gone through or is going through, go watch her video. She has below it like help, like phone numbers and stuff where you can go and get help if you need it. But she has just, things only somebody who has been through that, who've experienced that, only those people would have the understanding and the knowledge, right? And so listening to her story, it was really interesting because, you know, I grew up with a father who was abusive, but to me, it taught me never allow that crap in my own life, right? And so I kind of it's hard to say sometimes, but I'm grateful because it taught me what I don't want and what I won't accept in my life or in my space. And but if you didn't have a father or if you never had that experience, then it kind of sneaks past you, right? And all of a sudden you're living with somebody and you don't understand, you don't see the flags, the red flags, right? And so she talks a lot about the red flags. And so, yeah, I would definitely recommend for anybody who's, been there or repeating it or trying to get out of it. She talks about the red flags, and sometimes they're right in front of us and we refuse to see them. So what the heck made me talk about that? Oh, about Tina's comment about we have like a secret language. We have our own language, our own lingo. That made me think about that. It's kind of the same thing though, even though it's not in a violent situation, but it's kind of the same thing. So subliminal, need to take out the dogs. Yes, take out the dogs. I love that you have dogs. I would love to know what kind of dogs you have, subliminal. It says dogs, plural. Yes, Chat with Kay, sending prayers. Continue to send prayers your way. You got some good people praying for you, Mama Kay. She does know that she's more like him. Yeah, Donna. Of course she does. Oh, there's Mama Kay. She's still listening and she hasn't dozed off yet. She knows she's a lot like him, yeah. So Aline says, it says here Astraea is at 4 degrees Virgo. Wow. Well, just so you know, Aline, this full moon was at 9 degrees Virgo. Okay, so it's interesting because likely for you in the past couple of days, all right, Astraea was lit up. That's how I term it. Because the sun, 4 days ago, the sun would have been exactly opposing your 4-degree Astraea because the sun's at 9 degrees right now. So, and that sun would be in your second house of what you value, right? And so it lit up your Astraea, which is finding your tribe, finding people that you have deep bonds with, and apparently it's bonds that you have soulful connections with. And so these could be soulful connections through your family heritage, soulful connections through your childhood, soulful connections through past lifetimes. Fascinating. Well, Aline, I hope you show up more often because apparently we're all bonded in some way, right? I think that's fascinating. Yes. Charming Line, when my husband was alive, he was a very strong Leo. Oh my gosh. I think I've seen this. Wow. 2 Leos. Whoo. That's a hot house. 2 Leos. Wow, that's a lot of fire. And she said I was very quiet. After he died, I roared. Yes. The woman roared. And the kids had an adjustment to a new mom. Oh, wow. I never thought about that. Yeah, that would be a big deal. Bless my daughters. Yes, got to drive now to pick up daughter. But listening on the way. You're a blessing, Tina. Thank you. So, yes, Tina's probably not going to be happy, but she'll listen to the replay. So, let me address, because I'm caught up in the chat, I believe. So, let me address some of the bigger astrological things that I wanted to talk about earlier, okay? Because we're going on almost 3 hours now. We're at 2 hours and almost 30 minutes. So I want to make sure that I cover these important things. So we're going to talk about I'm going to give you guys the eclipses for 2021, okay? And we'll start there. So if you have your pen and paper out, and I'm going to give you the degrees as well. So Aline, I know this is all new for you, but it won't hurt for you to jot this down because you can find these points on your chart. SRF, I don't know if you're still in the building or if you're still in the star room, but if you are, I want you, because now you have, you said it's been easier for you to just simply go and find the degree. You spoke about this earlier in the evening. So the very first eclipse happens on May 26th. Okay, May 26th is our first eclipse. All right. And it happens in Sagittarius. Okay. And it happens at 5 degrees and 26 minutes. Okay. So write this down for those who are keeping track of where the eclipses for 2021 occur. It's May 26, 2021, and it's at 5 degrees and 26 minutes. I know, isn't that crazy? 5:26, it's repeated. Okay, Subliminal. Subliminal is back. Subliminal, we're going over the eclipses for the year of 2021. Unless you have your chart, you might not find this very interesting, but you probably will find the dates interesting. So I'm just going to give the dates and the degrees for the eclipses for 2021. So the first eclipse was May 26th, and it happens 5 degrees and 26 minutes, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius. So what I will talk about is that in Sagittarius energy, it's about our beliefs, what you believe. Okay, so there's going to be an eclipse there. So when there's an eclipse somewhere, that means there's going to be a change. Okay, and it's a well, I'm just going to, I'll stop with the astrology lingo. It means you're going to be releasing a belief. Okay, now a belief about what? Well, that has to do with where in your chart this 5 degrees and 26 minutes is at. Like what house? Where do you have that 526? Is it in your 5th house or your 6th house, right? Like who has their chart up to give as an example? Let me check here if nobody comes up with. Okay, so Subliminal, I'm going to use your chart as an example. I hope you don't mind because it's the chart that I have here. So for Subliminal, 5 degrees and 26 minutes. I'm sorry, you guys, but I'm not able to share. I'm going to figure it out, though. I'm going to figure it out because I have difficulties with sharing, with allowing this laptop to share to the phone while it's streaming, and I really want to be able to do that. I know it can be done, and I have to. The problem is that I have an Android phone, and I'm on Apple equipment, and so I have to figure out how I can get apps that are symbiotic that will talk to each other and then it'll be okay. So 526 in your chart, Subliminal, happens in your 11th house. It's in your 11th house, which means I said we were going to be releasing a belief about what? Well, if it's in your 11th house, then we say, well, what does the 11th house mean? So the 11th, yes, SRF, check that out for me so I can tell you. So the 11th house means group energy. It has to do with your friendships, okay? So it's not just big group energy, but people you're friends with, right? It's how you congregate digitally. So this also has to do with, yeah, what you do on YouTube, because we congregate digitally on YouTube, right? It has to do with not just group energy, but keep focused on what that placement is. When we talk about the 11th house, it's also how do I serve the group, okay? How do I serve the group? So you're releasing beliefs about how you can serve the group, okay? To be more specific for you, all right? And so that, I think, would help a lot because it's in May. And here's the other thing that's going to help. You have nothing there. You don't have any planets at 5 degrees and 26 minutes. So what that means, what that tells me, what your chart is telling me, is that this may come and go and you may not even notice it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to look at the opposite end of it for you, okay? The opposite end of that 5 degrees and 26 minutes in Aquarius, I'm sorry, in Sag, is 5 degrees and 26 minutes in Gemini. So you do have something there because you have your moon at 2 degrees in Gemini, right? So you have a moon at 2 degrees. We have an eclipse happening at 5:26, Well, normally for eclipses, we use an orb of 2 degrees. So your moon is close to this eclipse, but it's not really within orb. Okay, your moon is at 1 degrees and 47 minutes. So it's technically at 2 degrees. All right. So having an eclipse at 5 degrees and 26 minutes means it just puts you where it likely won't be a significant event in your life. You may not even notice it. But if you do, it could have to do with your emotions. It could have to do with your family. It could have to do with the public. It may have to do with your children because your moon is in your 5th house. So that tells me right off the bat that having children would be emotionally satisfying for you. Being able to possibly teach children, right? That would be emotionally satisfying you because the sign of Gemini likes to be the teacher. Having that moon in your 5th house, being creative, right? Is the moon represents how you're emotionally satisfied, all right? And so creating in general satisfies you emotionally. So, in other words, subliminal, you are a great creator. You have, because you're emotionally driven, which means having the moon there and the moon being your emotions, this is a great indicator as to why you easily manifest that which you want in your life. The 5th house is the house of creating, okay? And that's powered by the sun. Well, you have the moon there, sister, which means the moon reflects that, right? So whatever you think and you choose to create, it's almost like you can immediately manifest it. You know, you're a great creator. You're going to be a great creator. And so we've had conversations about this before. You got to be careful about what you're going to create, okay? And I say that because if we have that, that's a lot of power. And so just keep in mind that with great power comes great responsibility. Now, this isn't to say that you're not doing that, but it's just saying that we have to be very careful with our thoughts because do you believe that if you thought, like, say somebody you knew did something really bad to you, all right, like wronged you in a really big way, hurt you in a really big way, and so your immediate response after they hurt you was to get back at them, right? Like somebody says, you know, you stab me, I'm going to stab you back, type of thing. But you don't do it physically. But what if you were thinking it, right? You have to be careful. Subliminal. I would really like for you to think about this. I want you to think about the past. And I want you to give me examples because I don't doubt that there have been times in your life where you thought about something and it might not have been the most positive thing and it happened. Okay? And I'm saying that because of what I'm seeing here. And I also see that Jupiter thing I spoke about earlier where it trines, you have a lot of power. You have a lot of power, especially in spiritual beliefs and religion. Very much, very much, very much. Remember, balance is going to be key because you have Mars with that. So when where Mars is involved, Mars can be combative, okay? And Mars gives you the ability to say, I'm willing to duke it out. I'm willing to go to war with you over this. Keep that in mind, all right? That's going to be really important. And this is going to be something that seems as though it's a great benefit in your life, but there's information actually coming through that says that this, even though what I'm hearing is your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness. Your greatest strength can also be your greatest weakness. Hurdle, the word hurdle also I kept hearing. So your greatest strength can be a hurdle, can present a hurdle. And I'm thinking, as I'm logically looking at this, that hurdle would likely be that if you have very strong opinions when it comes to religion, if you do, or spirituality, having those can cause problems with all the energy that you have that shows you should be connecting with the public. Because when we connect with the public, we have to be open to other people's spirituality, other people's beliefs, right? So this is something that you may already be aware of. This is something you may already have control over, and you may already have a grip on. You may have already had to deal with that. But again, I'm just sharing with what's coming through. All right. So that was giving you an example, and hopefully it resonates for you. I know. Let me catch up on the chat, and let's see what else we got going here. Hold on a second. Let me grab this. this other thing I got here. Okay, so SRF, you said you're going to check on the degrees. Yeah, check on those degrees. So that was the first. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Subliminal. I'm reading. Yeah, you can reveal about my chart. It's okay. I'm reading it after I've already gone ahead and done it. Forgive me if I. Yeah, hold on one second here. Okay, so let's do that. And I'm also going to get a little sip of water before I go into this next thing. So Donna says, oh, that's in my ninth house near my south node in Sag. Donna, what's the degrees? You said it's in my ninth house near my south node in Sag. So Donna, what you're saying is you're going to have a south node and a north node return in 2021. Is that correct? SRF says, it's in my 10th house. Would I be releasing work? Okay, SRF. The only way you're going to be releasing work, because you said it's in your 10th house, is it on the cusp of your 10th house? Like, is it at your midheaven? Or do you have a planet at that degree, right? Do you have multiple planets? And then that even doesn't mean that you're releasing work. It could mean a change, like you could have a change in clients. You could have a, but remember, it's releasing a belief. It's releasing a belief about work, okay? It's a belief because it's Sagittarian. So do you travel for work, SRF? It's in your ninth house, right? And then understanding, do you have any planets there? Okay, that's going to be important. All right, let me grab this other thing. Okay. So, yeah, Donna, find out. You said it's near your south node in Sag. Remember, it's a 2-degree orb. It's a 2-degree orb, so it's at 526. So what that means is, do you have anything at the degrees of 326, 426, 526, 626, or 726? If you have anything at those exact degrees, then talk to me. And then I'll talk to you. And that's for those who know about their degrees. And if you don't know about your degrees, that's okay. But would you like to know about your degrees? Okay, so if you don't know and you want to know, what do I always say? Comment below. All right. Okay, so in my ninth house near my south node in Sag, SRS. If my okay, I already said that. So SRF, it's also not just about necessarily releasing work, but releasing an ambition, okay? It doesn't necessarily, it just means, yeah, it can be a goal that you had, right? You could be releasing a goal you used to have as well. Again, get back to me. She said, oh, okay, beliefs. I'll have to think about that. I don't know how to connect that. Well, again, SRF, do you have a planet at those degrees that I just said? Because that planet will tell me the details of what this is. Or do you have a cusp line? Like, is that your 10th house cusp line? Or is it just in your 10th house? When I say cusp line, that means it would be the first line of that house, okay? Classy Cookery says 8th house is Pluto. Classy Cookery. Are you repeating me? Are you asking me a question? Or are you telling? Oh, you're repeating what I was saying earlier. Okay, excellent. Yes, keep commenting. Just comment it up. Okay, so now we're going to go to, I'm going to move along, if that's okay with everybody, to the next eclipse, or would you rather that I stay? Because I really want you to write these down, actually. Yeah. So the next one is in June, okay? It's June 10th, all right? It's June 10th. It's at 19 degrees and 47 minutes in Gemini, okay? That's the next eclipse for 2021, all right? 19 degrees and 47 minutes in Gemini energy, okay? And it's going to be a North Node eclipse, okay? It's going to be a North Node eclipse. Classy Cookery is saying good night. Good night, Classy. Classy, I'm sorry, I said Classy. So, yeah, the second eclipse, June 10th, 19 degrees, 47 minutes in Gemini, and that's it's a North Node eclipse. It's a solar eclipse, North Node eclipse. And so what this one is going to mean, because it's in Gemini, it has to do with how we think. How we think. Okay, so SRF is coming in and saying, I have Neptune. I have Neptune at 29 degrees in Scorpio, and that goes in the ninth house. Okay, SRF, so, okay, so you have nothing in Sagittarius, SRF. You may have your midheaven in 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 Sagittarius, but you're saying that you have nothing in Sagittarius. So you're all clear, SRF. But what I will ask you to look in your chart is to go to the opposite side. Go to your Gemini energy. Do you have anything at 3, 326, 426, 526, 626, 726 of Gemini? Okay, look at that and see. That will then give you more indicators. Because remember, astrology is the science of wholes. It's both signs. It's the left and the right. It's the up and the down. It's this side and that side. It's both sides, okay? So that's what we want to look up. And that tells you more information. So Donna is saying that her sun is in 16 degrees in Gemini. Okay, Donna. So it's your sun is, you said 16. It's 16 exactly? There's no minutes there, Donna? Because if that's the case, and if that's the case, then the 19 degrees, SRF, you're confusing me. You said it makes it 9 degrees in the ninth house. Okay, so you're saying, SRF, that you have 9 degrees of Sag in your ninth house. Because I'm looking at your last statement, which said that I have 29 degrees Scorpio. I have Neptune at 29 degrees in Scorpio that goes into the ninth house. So what you're telling me then is after Scorpio, you have just 9 degrees of Gemini in your ninth house. And then the rest of that, I said Gemini, forgive me. You have 9 degrees of Sagittarius in your ninth, and then the rest of the Sag goes into your 10th house. So then that means that your 10th house, the degree of Sagittarius that begins your 10th house is the 9th degree, correct, SRF? Because that means that you are in the clear, that you have nothing significant for that eclipse, okay? Yeah, you have nothing significant for that eclipse. And that's for SRF, provided based on the information that you've given me here, okay? So you don't have to worry about it, it means, all right? It means it's nothing to be concerned with. But in general, having an eclipse in the ninth house, having an eclipse in Sagittarius, it's about beliefs about traveling for work, right? Connecting it to your 10th, or just beliefs about religion and spirituality, SRF, right? Because your ninth house has mostly actually Scorpio business. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Business, I said. Isn't that what I said? Okay. So, SRF, here's a question for you. Do you find that in your business and what you do, that you are likely connecting up with people, doing business with people who you've had past lifetimes with? That those are either clients or coworkers or employees, okay? Because, yeah, your business came in. Your business came in. It just came in really loudly. So it was explaining to me you may be changing possibly your clientele. Is that something possible? Or, yeah, coworkers, I guess, clientele, or possibly coworkers, or just making a change, and it has to do with people, because it has to do with a change with a belief of people. But again, you don't have anything there, so don't worry about it. Okay. Pluto, yes. Good night, my sis. Good night, Classy Cookery. Good night. Thank you for being here, Classy. I appreciate it. Classy Cookery, I didn't mention this earlier because we just totally got into astrology and message work, but Classy has a channel. She just uploaded recipes on how to make dosa. I don't know if you're familiar with dosa, but I just saw her video before I went on the live tonight. And yeah, I'm going to be making that. I only made dosa one time, but it's delicious. It's made with lentils. It's an Indian, it's like it's not a flatbread. It's actually like a crepe, like an Indian crepe, I guess. It's really good. And I love Eastern food in general. So let me go back to this. Let me see. Scales. Subliminal. Scales. Subliminal? What does that mean, scales? You'll have to tell me. Okay, so it makes it in... Okay, I addressed this already. Oh, okay, gotcha. So, Donna, you are saying it says 16 degrees. Okay. Okay, Donna, I'm going to tell you how to read that. It says 16 degrees, 17, and then 11. You want to know what that means? That means 16 degrees. The next number is the minutes. So that's 16 degrees, 17 minutes, and 11 seconds. That's what that means. So the way I do the degrees, if the minutes are either 30 minutes or under, I don't go up to the next number. So because you're 16, 17, I have to go let Taffy in the room. She's ready for bed. Because yours is at 16, 17, you're at 16 degrees. Okay? So Donna, 16 degrees, you're not being affected because this eclipse at 1947 is actually at 20 degrees, right? I said 19 degrees and 47 minutes. So we're gonna elevate it to the next number, which means 20 degrees. Okay? Hold on one second. Don't go anywhere. Let me let Taffy in. I feel bad. She hasn't been here all night long. This is her room, actually. This is where she sleeps. Let me turn my chair around here. Okay, Mama. Okay, come on, are you coming? Come on. Come on. Welcome to the star room. You gonna join us? Come on. You gonna come up on the desk and say hello to everybody? Or are you gonna chase all the stars? Are you ready for bed? Ugh. You can come up here if you want. You just can't stand on the keyboard, though. Come on, you can come. Let me move this. Oh, my candle went out. Well, then it's time for Taffy to come up because the candle went out. It's safe for her to come up then. Let me put this microphone in a place where... Are you going to go to sleep over there? Okay, that works. Okay, so... You're welcome, Donna. Not a problem. That's what I'm here for. That's the least I can do. That was the easiest thing. So, subliminal says like scales. You know, subliminal, it's fascinating you're talking about that. You're saying it's like, oh, Taffy, she can't chew on the wires, and she is a wire chewer. Get away from the wires. So, it's fascinating, subliminal, that you're saying scales, the musical scales, you mean, because... Yeah, you have Piscean energy in your second house, and Piscean energy is definitely the musical scales. Piscean energy is music, definitely. The sound of the spheres, writing music, singing music, composing music, playing an instrument by any chance. Yeah, totally a Piscean thing, playing an instrument. So yeah, you relate it that way. When I first started talking about astrology, I would relate it by talking... I would refer to like with ingredients and recipes because I was baking and doing a lot of cooking, and it's a practical, tangible thing that we have every day in our home. So it made sense. It was relatable. But for someone who doesn't play music, that might not be so much. So, okay. Astrology, both sides like scales. Yes. Thank you for explaining that. Yes. Okay, so let's go on to the next eclipse. Okay. The next eclipse is November 11th. And it's, okay, scratch that. It's not November 11th. I'm reading this backwards. It's November 19th. November 19th. So the next eclipse is November 19th, and it's at 27 degrees and 14 minutes in the sign of Taurus. All right? So November 19th, we have an eclipse in Taurus at 27 degrees and 14 minutes. Tina's back, and she's got her wine. Yes. They have a wine emoji with a big glass of wine. Yes. She's got her wine. Awesome. So, Tina, I gave out some of the eclipses. I'm sure you heard it, but I only gave out one while you were gone, and I'll repeat that one really quickly. You can write it down if you're ready for that. Her responsibilities are over for the day. Yeah, Tina, or Charming Line, yeah, start your day late because you just picked your daughter up from work. You are, yeah, it's late where you are. You're an hour ahead of me, so it's like 1:45 by you. Your daughter, how old is your daughter? How is she doing with the job? Is she liking it? Okay, so the eclipse that you missed, Tina, I gave out the May 26th one, and then I gave out the June 10th. And the June 10th eclipse is it's in the sign of Gemini. In the sign of Gemini, I keep looking down there at you. Sign of Gemini at 19 degrees and 47 minutes. All right, it's a solar north node eclipse, Tina. I know that you know what that means. And if you don't, just ask me. But it's in Gemini, and so Gemini, it has to do with the way we think. It has to do with the way we talk, the way we speak. It's how we relate when we communicate, okay? But it's a change in that. And this is where the north node has been for, yeah, almost 2 years, right? Where the north nodes are at. Taffy's exploring the room. She's exploring the lights. So the north node is where we're headed. And the north nodes are asking us to be flexible. And you know what? Subliminal, I swear, there was a message that came in for you earlier. I wrote it down. And I don't have it here. Your piece of paper's out there, but I remember the message because it wouldn't leave me alone until I wrote it down. And this isn't just for you, Subliminal. I'm bringing this up now. This is what reminded me, because this is for all of us, because the sign of Gemini is about having flexible thinking. Okay? Hold on. Let me get the light back on again. It's about being flexible, not only in our thinking, but in the way that we talk, in the way that we relate, in the way that we communicate. And so what worked for us yesterday or what works for me right now, this might not work for me tomorrow. I have to be flexible enough to understand that I may have to change the way I'm doing things because we're in changing times. And so we have to be flexible in our thinking. And the message that came earlier, I'll just share it, that is for everybody. I kept hearing, be like the bamboo, because oak is sturdy, it's hard, but if you try to bend a piece of oak, it cracks. Okay? So the message I kept hearing during the day was, be like the bamboo. A piece of bamboo, what makes bamboo so wonderfully beautiful is its flexibility. It can bend. All right? When the wind's blowing, right, it can sway in the wind, but it can bend. But it doesn't crack. It doesn't break. Oak, right? You pick a hard wood, when you apply pressure to it, it cracks. And so this is for all of us because this has everything to do with Gemini energy. This has everything to do with learning how to be flexible. Okay, so the next eclipse. The next eclipse. All right, so Eli has a comment. Eli's comment is, my north node is 26 degrees of Gemini. I recently had a return. Eli, you know a lot. How the hell do you know how to read your chart like that? She's like, my north node is 26 degrees Gemini. I recently had a return. Eli, I'm sorry, but you do know more about astrology than you're letting on to use the kind of words you're using, sis. Like, maybe you just don't think you know a lot. How's that? You know more than you know. How about that? We'll put it like that. Yes, exactly what you're saying. Be like a bamboo. Yes. Yes, exactly. Be like the bamboo. Be flexible. And you know, this has been the message for 2020. It was the message that we have to be flexible in our thinking. And hasn't that what's been challenged? Is how we think and communicate and our belief systems. When we think about all the things that have been going on in our country politically and socially, we have been challenged. Events have occurred, things have been done, things have been said, and this is also, you know, online, because that's Gemini energy. It is the internet, it's social media. It's the news reporter being, you know, someone just like me, the average person becoming the reporter, people who are reading information online and presenting it as fact when they really haven't even checked the source of the information. It could be crap, right? And so it's the challenge of your thinking and your beliefs and understanding what you think is true may not be true, and slowing down long enough to do some research, right? And to realize that even if it's something that you've researched and you think is true, doesn't mean that it's somebody else's truth, right? Lots of Twitter use. You know, I never did Twitter. I started to, and I was just like, I can't tell you guys, but the thought of being on on this platform, before I got on this platform, oh my God. I can't tell you how much I dreaded it. Like being on Facebook and just any social platform, I was like, I want nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. Okay, now Zoe wants out of the, or Taffy wants out of the room. Hold on. Come. Are you going to go out this time? No. See, now she wants to come over here. Well, come on up. Come on. The candle went out. I'll keep it out. You can come up with us. Come on. Where are you? Are you going to come up? She's just going to rub her legs up on me. So SRF says midheaven is at 18 degrees of Sag. Okay. SRF says her midheaven is at 18 degrees of Sag. Okay, SRF. So you are to be, for the June eclipse, SRF, you will be affected by the June eclipse. Because the eclipse is at 1947. You're within the 2-degree orb. To be within a 2-degree orb for the June 10th eclipse in Gemini. Forgive me if my words Sag and Gemini are blending. And I know I do that sometimes. The information just comes fast before my mouth can keep up with it. That's why I loved editing, because I can correct those errors. But to know if you're with an orb of an eclipse, it's 2 degrees, and it would go 1747, 1847, 1947, or 2047. So SRF, you are definitely within the orb. You're at 18 degrees. You slide right in there, which means it is a solar north node eclipse. It has to do with your thinking, okay? And I know that you're talking about Sagittarius and the eclipses in Gemini, but eclipses happen. They affect the point of which the eclipse is at, and they affect the opposite side. So what we need to be talking about, okay, what we need to be talking about or finding out is, do you have anything in Gemini at the degrees I gave out as well, SRF? You want to find that out also. But understanding that that's your midheaven. So this will likely be a change, but because it's a solar north node eclipse, it's a change in a communication, but it's also a change. Gemini energy is business. It's keeping track of the numbers, right? Mercury rules this eclipse. So it's the data, the information, the money, it's partnerships, it's people we do business with, it's our coworkers, it's networking, okay, digitally networking. And having your midheaven, having Sagittarius at your midheaven, it's definitely your beliefs about your goals, okay? But because it's a solar eclipse, it will be a change. And typically solar eclipses give us something, right? It has something to do with your future, but it has something that's usually beneficial in a way where you like it, because normally it's a material, tangible gift in some way. So maybe you'll get a boost in clientele, okay? I honestly would rather look at other things in your chart, but your career with that June 10th eclipse, and I will share this with you definitely, is that because your degrees are so close to being exact, like you're a degree and a half away, this is going to occur for you before June 10th. It'll be, something will happen before then. We'll see, I don't think I read whether you have something opposing, like if you have anything in Gemini near those degrees yet, but you do, because it's your IC. Do you see what I'm saying? If your midheaven is at 18 degrees, your IC is at 18 degrees. And so I guess what I'm gently trying to say is, this means, possibly a change at home and change at home and a change at work. That's what this is showing. It looks like it definitely could be beneficial though, because it's a solar north node, and that's usually more of a giving. Okay, Donna, thank you very much. I know it's getting close to 3 hours, and I usually like to try to tap down at that time, but I will give you guys what else is around this piece of paper. There's 2 more eclipses to go through. Donna, you were a great help tonight. Thank you. It was great having you here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sister. I appreciate it very much. Blessings. And yes, come back again soon. It was wonderful having you here for the live. So yes, SRF. We definitely need to take a look at your chart. Your chart. I'm getting a little crazy. So now the next eclipse, November 19th, in Taurus, 27 degrees, 14 minutes. Okay? That's going to be a lunar north node eclipse for anybody who's awake and listening and still present. It's still alert. So the November 19th, 27 degrees, 14 minutes in Taurus. It's a lunar north node. And then we have a December eclipse, okay? The December eclipse is in Sagittarius. It's at 12 degrees and 22 minutes, okay? Sheila's vlog. Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate you very, very much, Sheila. Thank you very much, sister. Sheila from Korea. Check her out. So, yeah. We've got December 4th, 12 degrees, 22 minutes in Gemini. Or, I'm sorry, in Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Yes, the IC, that's important. That's very important. So you may not have a planet there, but your IC is definitely there. But if you don't have any planets and it's just your IC, so every time there's a planet, and if it's conjunct, whether it's your IC or house cusp line, it adds to the intensity of it. So if we're talking about just your IC, that makes it a little bit easier to dissect, okay? Thank you, Sheila. Oh, Sheila, thank you. Welcome. Come on in, Sheila. It's great that you're here. So we're going over the eclipses for 2021, Sheila. I don't know if you're interested in hearing about that because I'm actually just said the last one, but I would repeat them if you would like. When eclipses occur, typically we see changes in our life. We see tangible changes in our life. So we have somebody in the chat right now who's realizing they have something at the degrees I gave out. It's the June 10th eclipse. It's in Gemini energy. It's at 19 degrees, 47 minutes. And she realizes that she has her IC and her midheaven are at these same matching, close enough matching points that are within orb. And so she's going to expect changes at home and in her career, in her ambitions, right? It could very easily be a positive change. It could definitely be a positive change because it's a solar north node eclipse. And typically the sun gives us something. It lights us up, right? And so I like this for you. But again, I haven't seen the rest of your chart. I have to take the rest of the chart into consideration before I would say anything else. To find out more details for yourself, you look to see where your Jupiter and where your Mercury are in your natal chart, right? And then we also look at where the transiting Jupiter and Mercury are to give us more information too. I know it's very detailed. Only crazy people go that deep. And well, that's why you have somebody else look at it. So those were the eclipses for 2021. I did promise to give out the transiting Pluto conjunctions or transiting Pluto dates where Pluto is going to show up in a big way for the United States. And I say that because it's, you know, it's the transiting Pluto lining up with the United States natal Pluto. So SRF and Charming Lion, I know that you are going to understand these things and that, you know, Donna will catch this later on, and so others who are into astrology will catch this later on as well. Aline, you know more about astrology than you think, so you may be interested in hearing about these dates as well. So what we have here is we have the first one happened February 7th, okay? February 7th. Oh, I'm sorry, this is in the future. I'm sorry. February 7th, 2022. Okay, so these dates aren't far away, all right? February 7th, 2022. Write that one down, all right? And then we have July 28th, 2022. All right, July 28th, 2022. And then we have December 16th of 2022. All right? So what we're finding out is there's some, you know, the year of 2022, there's some major stuff that's going to go down, right? So knowing this now, as we're making our way through the year of 2021, find out where Pluto is, find out where Capricorn energy is in your chart, like what house is it in, because that will tell you where these changes are going to happen in your life, okay? That'll give you the indicator. And that's important because then you could be prepared mentally, right? And then there may be some other things where you see things are changing in that area of your life, and wherever Pluto is making this change, just understand that you're going to go with this change. You're going to accept it, and you're going to kind of, as they say, roll with the punches, right? If the energy is flowing that way, you can either fight it and try to swim against the flow, or you can just let the flow carry you. I know it's not comfortable, but you just have to trust that it's going to be okay, right? And so it's changes that have to do with our tangible securities because it's in Capricorn. It's changes that have to do. Hey, sincere sis, how are you? It's good to see you. Sheila, if you didn't hear me, thank you for being here. For some reason, I thought you were here the whole time, Sheila. So I didn't know. SRF is good night. Yes, SRF, good night, sister. I didn't see that. Thank you. It was great having you here. You could always come back and watch the replay to hear the details that I'm giving out. But sincere, I'm so glad you're here, lady. I'm glad that you're good. I'm glad that you're good. We hadn't seen you for a while, and it was like, I hope Sincere's doing okay, you know. It's just good because there's just been so many. I was here since you. That's what I thought, and then you came back in and said you were. Sheila, are you being funny? You're trying to be funny, huh? So, Charming Lion, are you still here with us, Tina? Because then you would be the last astrologer. Okay, so Eli, I'm totally transformed for the good after so many years of Pluto transiting my 12th. Wow. Wow. So, oh, that's right. You did come in on the. Okay, gotcha. Okay, good. Oh, Sheila, you are a blessing. Thank you. That is so sweet of you. Thank you so much. So, oh, good. Okay, great. So I can keep doing astrology. You and Eli. As long as there's two people here who that will understand the lingo, then I'll use it. Otherwise, I'll turn it off. So yeah, February 7th of 2022. Eli, write these dates down. Charming Line, July 28th, 2022, December 16th, 2022. So the main thing here about that, again, it's our structures. It's the structures of our businesses, the structures of our government, right? It's the structures of our tangible securities in this world. These are structures that have been built up. These are our natural resources. These are things that we've grown to be dependent on over a long period of time, right? Well, Pluto has come in and said, okay, you've been there, you mastered that. It's time to grow. It's time to learn how to do things in a new, different way. And so Pluto's going to transform because it's time to update, right? I remember reading something not too long ago about the government saying that the government was saying that their systems, like because I have to deal with like Social Security Administration and stuff, and they were saying that their systems are so outdated, right? Like the hardware is so outdated. I forgot how long they said it would take them to catch up on something. It was insane. But that's Pluto coming in and saying, okay, the systems that you're using are so outdated, they don't work anymore. Like the hardware doesn't work, right? And so it all has to be thrown out or somehow made to accommodate this new system, right? And so people in business don't like the sound of that, okay? Think about this, Charming Lion, right? You've got a business. Think about if somebody comes in and says, okay, your sewing machine that you're using, it's outdated. You need to invest in a new one. And you're sitting here thinking, well, it works fine for me. But then they tell you, but if you keep using that, because everything else around you has updated, what you're making will no longer work. Like, let's just pretend because of the designs you create or the machinery that you use, that for some reason zippers and buttons won't work with what you're doing anymore. Let's just pretend. Like zippers and buttons won't work because of the sewing machine that you have. And so you have no choice but to update, like, which means you take this old thing and you either give it away or throw it away, and you have to invest in new technology. Well, that costs you money, right? So we've got this, we've got businesses, of course, and the government, right, who are like, well, we don't want to spend that money, right? There's nothing wrong with what we're using. Let's just keep using it. Let's just keep doing things the way we've always been doing it. But Pluto is saying, no, it's time to grow. It's time to elevate. It's time to learn new ways, right? And so, right, you would totally freak out. Well, that's what Pluto, and when we talk about its structures within our society, Let's be clear about that. Okay, so it's not just government, because, well, that is a structure within our society, but our religion is also a structure within our society. And I have to say that because we're seeing so many churches that no longer exist or that sit empty, right? Even if the building is still there, there's no congregation, right? And just understand that these changes, this is the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be changing. And it's so that we can learn how to relate, how to congregate in a different way, okay? And just, yeah, we're changing. And so this is what the emphasis of the transitions within our material and our tangible with this Plutonian energy, that's what it's all about, okay? And I know it's difficult. It is very difficult. So Sincere says, I'm going to have to catch the replay. I'm well. I hope you all are too. Yes, Sincere. Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much for letting us know that you're well. So glad to have you here. And I'm waiting for your next, she's a YouTuber, I'm waiting for your next random piece of content because you're hilarious. You guys always have some really funny stuff, you and your daughter. SRF, I'm here. I just thought you were signing off. Yeah, SRF, I need to be signing off because it's 12:05 and Taffy's like letting me know she wants to go to sleep in here. And Tina says it's totally really, yeah, I would freak out. Then I would find a way because you gotta, yeah, because you gotta. Yeah, if you have no options and the world that we're living in is just changing, then you become the one thing that's fighting against the mainstream, right? And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't want anything to do with all that because I still want it to be this old way. And well, you can do that, but just accept that there's going to be others you're going to come up against, who are still doing it or who are doing it a new way, and then you end up being, kind of like the odd man out. So it's difficult. All right, so I gave out those dates, which is great. I will definitely do videos, hopefully. Change is necessary. Absolutely, that's how we grow, right? I know, that's the only way to grow, right? We have to, that's actually Zoe at the door. That's, it's, I keep repeating it, and I think I repeat it because it's just as much of a thing for me telling myself. It's just as much for me that the changes and our growth occur under pressure. It doesn't happen when we're coasting. It doesn't happen when we're on vacation. It doesn't happen when, when stuff is just put in our lap. It's when we come up against, difficulties and when we have to figure something out, like it's not working this way any longer. We have to figure out a new way. We've been told 3 times no, and we keep wanting to do this, whatever this thing is. And so we just have to keep plucking away at it. And so it's all those tries. It's all those Capricorn tries where we learn and where we evolve and where we grow. I'm glad you like the background, Sincere. Thank you. I know everybody's had really good things to say about it. It's to give it this really cool place. Yes, we grow under pressure and shine like a diamond. Yeah. So Charming Line, I'm trying not to be that old lady that won't change. I know. You and me both, right? I got to keep up with the daughters. Well, see, that's the cool thing about having the youth around is it always kind of keeps you in tune, like what's trending and how things are changing. And you can observe how the flow is going and you can be like, okay, and it kind of gets you ready and almost acclimated for when the change really comes. And yeah, it just keeps you relevant, right? It keeps you relevant. Yes, under pressure we grow. Yeah, shine just like the diamond. Absolutely. So this has been wonderful, you guys. I'm really happy. If you have any suggestions for the next live, again, if you want your chart highlighted like I highlighted Subliminal Radio's chart tonight, comment, that you want to have something talked about. And if you're someone who I've talked about your chart before, it's okay. Just at least maybe give me something in specific you want me to talk about. With Subliminal, she didn't know about her rising and her moon. And I knew that in advance, so that was why those things were important for me to talk about. And then messages came in too, so I shared those with her. And I will do the same for you. I want this to be a place where everybody can have their time to shine, so to speak. And I like for you guys to be able to shine in the comments as well, and which is why your comments are so pretty. And then I get to, I said pretty because I just read Subliminal, some random's word, Sincere Random's contents word, pretty popped up. But yeah. your time to shine, and your comments mean everything, So what I'm going to go for, hopefully, is the thing about these Saturday nights is the competition's pretty stiff on Saturday night because it's, in all honesty, it's probably one of the best time slots for lives to get a good amount of people to show because of the fact that typically people aren't working. Well, unless you're Tina's daughter, right? But usually someone can just be in bed watching the live and commenting and enjoying, which is great because that's kind of what I want it to be. I want people to be comfortable, you know. And so if you have times that are good for you, because I want to try to work in a second live. I want to try to do 2 lives a week if possible. We'll see what happens. But I was hoping for it to be on a different night, possibly, and maybe even a daytime one. I don't know. We'll see. Because then, like, how do I get the stars to show up? I love the stars too. You guys comment that you like them. I love them too. So I really would really like to be able to do it that way. But if you guys have any suggestions, special times that you'd like that work out well for you in your schedule, just comment. Let me know, and we can do that. So this is G signing off. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for being the stars and showing up and shining. And until next time, until the next video, until the next upload, just remember, I'm going to leave you with a quote because there's always a really good quote. And I repeated this quote, not the very last video, but the one before. And I'm going to repeat it again because it kept jumping out at me earlier, which is, it's the same quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. And her quote was this: great minds talk about ideas. Average minds talk about events. Small minds talk about people. With that, keep shining.